speed, and style. 16 athletes racing side by side. Slopestylers searching for speed. Racers looking to out-trick their rivals. Head to head in Rotorua, New Zealand. Win and you advance. Lose and, well, you're done. Returning Crankworx dual speed and style stamp, Jakob Wenzel is back. But so are some heavy hitters like Kyle Strait and reigning king of Crankworx, Adrien Laurent. Live from Rotorua, New Zealand, here is the Mons Royale Crankworx dual speed and style. This has got to be one of my favorite events here at Crankworx. Cam, what do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely, Michaela. Thanks a lot. We got Michaela Gatto standing by in the field as our reporter. I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside a guy who was the dual speed and style overall series champion in 2015. He's nursing a broken foot right now, a couple snap metatarsals. Bernard Kerr, it's going to be a little different for you up here in the booth. Were you excited, buddy?
That's it, Cam. A little different, not on track tonight, but can't wait. It's always such a good event. We've got speed, like Michaela said, and tricks tonight. So it's an action-packed event, and well, the night's only getting started now, eh?
That's right. We had pump track last night, and it was fantastic. But I have to second with Michaela. This is one of my favorite events out here at the Crankworx stops. It's got everything. If you're a race fan, we got something for you. If you love the tricks from slopestyle, they're doing that too. But the big question coming into the event right now, we got a couple of them. First up, Jakob Wenzel. He was so dominant last year. He won the first two stops. He won right here in Rotorua, and he won in Leger. He had enough results in the next two events to become the series champion. You know what that's like. But is he going to be able to keep the train rolling here into another season?
That's it, Cam. You know, he had those backflips with the X up to X up. It's the good combos and the other things he had, as well as the speed, obviously. But maybe the competitors know about that. They've seen what it takes to win. They've seen what he did last year. Have they been out training in the off-season? Are they doing the same tricks? Who knows?
So we'll see if he's coming in with a new strategy or if he's going to stick with the old standards. But how about your reigning king of Crankworx, Adrien Laurent? Can he get back on track after last night's blumber in the pump track?
You see it here, guys. He comes around that top turn and just a mistake, lack of focus, and he is right off track. Like we say, reigning king of Crankworx, that is not how he wanted to start his campaign.
Such a small margin of error in pump track, and it's the same in dual speed and style. But Laurent, he used results from pump track to get that king title last year. So starting off, his confidence has to be a little bit shaken, but he traditionally does do well in these events. So what do you think we can expect from him today?
That's it, Cam. Like you say, his confidence got hit last night, but this is another event. He's had plenty of podiums in it, and I think he can get his head back in the game. He knows what it takes to win King of Crankworx. He did it last year. He is your defending champ, you know.
All right, well, dual speed and style is, like we said, one of our favorite competitions, and the format is very unique. Walk me through the format, Bernard.
Right. We've shaved it down to 16 racers. There's 3 judges also watching their runs on 2 separate courses.
All right, so it's similar to dual slalom, where it's a head-to-head format. Each rider taking a run on each course. They switch for that second run just to even out any unevenness in the course. So instead of just time like dual slalom would be, right now those judges are assigning trick bonus scores per the 2 trick jumps on the course. Once those have been added together, you get what we're calling the run score. Now, it's like golf. You want a lower run score once they've been combined to advance out of that heat into the next bracket.
That's it, Cam. The better the trick, the more time they get taken off on each run. And the better rider, therefore, advances with speed and style.
2017 overall champ last year was Jakob Wenzel. He's going to be looking to defend that crown here. All right, so that's how it's going to work. I like it. You know, we had dual slalom earlier in the week, and that's fun, that's exciting. But this track has a little bit more pitch to it, and it's got a whole lot more airtime. One fan of airtime coming from the slopestyle world, one of the guys who's traditionally got great results out here. He was second in Innsbruck in dual speed and style. We're talking about Martin Soderstrom.
Yeah, Cam, he's a great all-round rider. You know, he's got the tricks. He used to be a slopestyle specialist, but he's also a good rider when it comes to the speed. He knows what it takes to put the power down and really pump those rollers.
So the background of slopestyle definitely helps in speed and style. Now, I want to ask you what you think about my brother. I grew up racing with him. He pursued racing a whole lot longer than I did, and then he also had a slopestyle component to his career. Do you think he has the package that you need for dual speed and style?
Definitely, Cam. He's Russ World Champs as a junior in downhill and things. He's a racer at heart, but like you say, he's got the tricks now, and I really think Tyler McCall could be a big shock for everyone here tonight.
Well, he's going up against Slavic in the first round. Slavic was the silver medalist in Whistler, so the last event we had here for dual speed and style. We have some adjustments to the judging criteria these days, and they're forcing the riders to do tricks. He's been doing backflips in practice. Do you think he's going to pull him out in the run?
Like you say, Cam, yeah, for sure. Slavic has adopted. He knew the rules were changing, and he's been landing flips all winter. So he is here. He's always fast. It's his main strength, but he's got those flips, and I think we're going to see them tonight.
So those are our picks, but we want to hear what you think. You're familiar with fantasy football, but you're not football fans, you're mountain bike fans, so you need to go to fantasy.crankworx.com, sign up, make your team. We have an event for every single competition out here, and you get a set budget. Each rider's worth a certain dollar amount. Now, Bernard, I would always try to put you on my teams when you're out there competing, but you're always too expensive.
That's it. You've got to be smart with it. You've got to be crafty. Different riders are worth different amounts, so pick wisely to get the best team you can.
You got to throw some underdogs in there to not go over budget, but if you win, we got big prizes for you, and we're holding this for every single event here at all the Crankworx stops. So log on to fantasy.crankworx.com and build your team. So no matter who you decide to put on your fantasy team, you may be picking people from different countries who look forward to traveling here every single year, or you may be picking some Kiwis, guys like one of my favorites, Connor McFarlane, who definitely shows up to Rotorua every year to not only compete, but to enjoy some of the local riding.
Well, I mean, riding in New Zealand, to me, it's my home country, so I'm slightly biased. But I mean, you know, just look at this beautiful forest. This is what we get to ride. For me, the riding's, you know, pretty world class. It's, I've got to say, it's the, you know, the best I've ever had. I find New Zealand pretty special because of the people, for starters. Everyone's pretty welcoming and just nice to you. There's the different culture side to it as well. You know, we've got all the Māori stuff. A massive variety of tracks as well. You know, you got your flows, you got your real techie stuff, and you got the super slippery, like rooty, rocky stuff. Yeah, it's just a great place. I've tried, I guess, a bit of everything biking-wise. It just keeps it interesting for me. When you look at the guys that are like doing well, like the king and queen of Crankworx, they generally have like the background, a bit of everything. Like they're quite often racers, but then they're also real good on their hardtail, and like they do a lot of dirt jumps or pump tracking, and I think that's what it takes to be an all-round mountain biker these days. It's pretty sick having Crankworx come to, you know, my own country, and for everyone to just experience what we've got. And the trail finishes right at a thermal area, which there's quite a few of around Rotorua. Who doesn't want to jump in the hot river at the end of a ride? It's pretty good, especially at the moment, you know, maybe not in the heat of summer, but it's pretty perfect temperatures now for jumping in a nice warm river.
Is that beautiful or what? Rainbow Mountain out there. It's only like 20 minutes away from here in Rotorua, so you come here to take part of the festivities. You ride Skyline while you're here, you ride the Redwoods, but it doesn't take much to explore outside of this area, and there's so much on tap here in New Zealand. Well, Adrian Lerone off to a rough start yesterday, but he wants to remain Lerone on the throne. Michaela is standing by with Adrian. Let's find out what his headspace is like going into today's dual speed and style.
Thanks so much, Cam. I'm here with Adrian Lerone, reigning king of Crankworx, second overall in the dual speed and style here last year. Tell me what it's going to take to get you back on track mentally today.
You better be really precise. It's such a tricky one. There is pretty much everything, like flat turns, corners, jumps. You have to do tricks at very fast speed, so you have to be focused from top to bottom.
And you're going to focus on the speed or the style, or you've got a little bit of everything in the bag?
Yeah, I have to do everything. So yeah, I'm pretty fast for the moment on the track. I feel fast, but I have not much tricks, so I will do pretty much the same then all the time, like safe tricks for me, and let's see.
Well, you obviously know how to win, so how do you shake off something like what happened last night?
You know, it's part of the game. You can't win all the time, so if you don't win, you lose. And I just did a mistake. I know it's my fault. We are humans. You can't do everything perfectly, so I'm just trying to forget it. And it's a new day. It's a new race. I'm trying to have fun, and that's it. I think it's the key.
Perfect. If you're not first, you're last. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Michaela. Well, he's got his head in the right place. You can't win them all, and you've got to just focus on the next competition. Lerone wanting to stay as the king of Crankworx. Take a look at our standings so far, Bernard.
That's it, Cam. You know, he wants to be up there with Sam Blenkinsop and Matt Walker, but unfortunately, as we saw last night, he had a mistake. But we've got to go all the way down to the second page to see him at the minute.
Well, that's rare. You're used to seeing him quite close to the top right now, but it's only the beginning of the season. It's only, you know, a couple events in, and he competes in so many different disciplines. So a lot of the points that he earned last year to get that king title were from dual speed and style. Well, we're going to kick things off with this cast of characters right here. Take a look at our brackets.
That's it, Cam. We got Martin Soderstrom and Jake Kinney. Both know each other super well from Woodward over in America, where they both train, learn some tricks and things.
Well, look at all of these matchups here. Tyler McCall versus Thomas Slavic. It's going to be one heck of a battle here. It's the Mons Royale, dual speed and style, and it starts right now. There's a special energy in the air here in Rotorua.
The crowd is going wild out there.
Nobody has any room for air here. Into the final feature, going for the twister. Can he land it? Perfect!
Every single rider here did a great job. What a huge run. We could have a new leader here.
Happy to be in front of the home crowd and having a bit of fun.
Oh, just barely too short. It's dual speed and style time here, kicking off the World Tour in Rotorua as we always do. We've talked about it at the top of the show. Dual speed and style is a crowd favorite. It's one of our favorites. Bernard, you were the series champion just a few years ago, and we're gonna start now trying to figure out who our new series champion will be for 2018. We have two riders in the gate to get us started right now. We're looking at Martin Soderstrom on the left, Jake Kinney on the right. Now, these guys live on opposite ends of the planet, but they do ride together sometimes.
Yeah, like we just said before, Cam, they both out at Woodward. Jake Kinney's the bicycle director over there, and Martin goes there to train when it's cold and snowy in Sweden. So these guys know each other well. And here we go. They're out the gate, along the first wooden drop, into the moguls before they hit the first trick jump.
Oh, Martin Soderstrom with a tail. It looked like a backflip from Jake Kinney.
That's it, pretty even into the first turn there. Coming through the roller section.
Martin looking to have a slight lead in the race at this moment, but look at Kinney.
That's it, Kinney's pulled out just in front going into these flat turns, but Martin is no slouch into those.
Well, what's it gonna be on the last trick jump for these riders? A tail for Kinney, a 360 tabletop from Martin Soderstrom.
And such a tight race, 0.04 in their finishing times there, Cam.
That is insane. Let's think about last night. Pump track, shorter course, our margins, the smallest margin we had was 0.05. This is an even smaller margin in bracket number 1 here in dual speed and style.
That's it. It is tight racing tonight, that is for sure. Hopefully we'll get to a quick look back at their runs and we'll see what they did.
Well, both riders riding fast, both riders tricking. Now, you remember at the beginning we explained to you how this format works. The judges, there's 3 of them, they're sitting there, they're tabulating the scores. There's a preset score assigned for each trick that these riders are going to be doing. If you don't do a trick, you're actually going to be getting docked for that. So all these riders, these 2 first riders doing tricks. What tricks do we have here, Bernard?
Here we go. We've got Martin Soderstrom with a tail and Jake Kinney with a straight flip. Both super clean and smooth down that first jump.
So Martin scoring a 50 to Jake's 40, so they like the tail up more than the straight flip. And then down at the bottom, a 70 for Martin and a 50 for Jake. So that 360 table with that classic Martin Soderstrom style being rewarded.
Giving him, hopefully, the advantage going into round number 2. There you have it, Cam. 0.37 advantage that Jake Kinney needs to make up into the second round.
Well, that's very doable. He can choose to try to tackle that task by going faster, doing more difficult tricks, or a combination of the both.
That's it. Right, back up to the top for the next race.
Oh, look at this. Thomas Slavic, the guy who got 2nd place in Whistler last August, going up against Tyler McCall, who has won the event in Whistler a few years ago.
This should be a good one. We got Thomas Slavic, the guy known for speed. Tyler, good at tricks and speed. But like we said, Slavic practicing those tricks, and he's got the flips down. I think we might see them here, Cam.
Watch the gate.
And they're off.
Over the wood, through the rollers into this first jump. There we have it, Slavic with a flip and Tyler with a perfect flip as well.
It looked like he may have thrown a bar spin there. We're gonna have to wait for that slow-mo replay. But Tyler holding close to Thomas Slavic, who comes from that racing background, who's stepping outside of his comfort zone this year, learning that backflip. But what are they gonna do on the last jump?
Yeah, but coming in, another backflip from Slavic, repeating, and a flat cork flip by Tyler McCall there.
Oh, look at that. Thomas Slavic through the line, 1.33 ahead of Tyler McCall. We're gonna wait for those trick scores. Looking forward to those replays to see if Tyler got the bar spin on that flip up top.
Yeah, interesting race, Cam. Both going upside down, both showing good speed, but Slavic, like I say, racer background, he can really put the power down and hammer to the finish line.
And to see Slavic doing backflips right now, it just goes to show how the riders are taking this discipline more and more serious every single year.
That's it, Cam. With points counting towards the King of Crankworx series, everyone's developing their skills. They know they need to score points in more events.
All right, take a look back at the replays. Tyler does get that bar spin. The backflip bar spin scores him 70 to Thomas Slavic's 40.
Both landing super smooth and straight up top.
Into the bottom, you see a straight flip from Slavic, and you have an off-axis flip from Tyler McCall, which scores him 10 points higher than that straight backflip.
That's it. Will it be enough to put him in contention?
He was back by 1.33. It's now 0.78. Thomas Slavic is the leader going into the next round. When they switch the courses, do it all over again, Tyler will have to beat him by more than 0.78 once they crunch the numbers.
That's it. Either go a bit faster or do bigger tricks like we said.
Well, it's always exciting to see how these riders' strategies evolve through the evening. You start out with something, and then you realize maybe you got to dig a little bit deeper into that bag of tricks. But we're back up to the top right now. It's looking like Adrian Lerone on the left side of your screen versus Canada's Mitch Chubey on the right side of your screen. Great to see Chubes out here.
That's it. Adrian really needs to focus now. After last night's mistake, he really needs to concentrate on this one and make this event count for him.
Watch the gate.
Off they go, over the first wood. Straight down, in the rollers. Lerone looking so strong with a 3.
Oh!
Was that Chubey a flip no hand?
Backflip no-hander for Mitch Chubey. The one thing Lerone needs to do right now is never underestimate Mitch Chubey.
Definitely. Coming around the berm here, pedaling straight into that next log. And you see Chubey is right there with Adrian Lerone coming into these flat turns.
Chubey can race. Look at him go. What's it going to be on the last jump, Bernard? Oh!
A flip by Lerone and a flip bar by Mitch Chubey, with Chubey tailing by 0.37.
Never underestimate Mitch Chubey. This guy's been riding for so long. He's been coming to all the Crankworx events for years and years and years. Out of Canada, he works at the Vancouver airport as a fix-it-everything man, and then in his free time, he travels the world and competes against the king of Crankworx, Adrian Lerone.
That's it, an impressive guy, and not a slouch of a run at all there. We saw some really good speed, but with combos on the tricks as well.
So we're going to wait for our scores right now. We know that Chubey is likely to have higher scores than Lerone because he got those variations in there. The backflip no-hander up top.
That scores him a 68 compared to Lerone's 50 on the first jump, which is quite a good margin to put on him.
And then on the bottom, it was the same situation, a straight backflip for Lerone, a backflip bar spin. Look at the scores.
A 70 versus a 40 again. Chubey really scoring some good points there.
And staying close enough to where he may be the leader. There it is.
There it
Mitch
is.
Chubey, the leader, going into their next round when they switch courses by 0.28 over Adrian Lerone.
Lerone really needs to get back up there and put some power down and use his strength to his advantage coming into race number 2 right now.
Back up to the top. Look at that. In the woods where he belongs, the Canadian, the legend, I'll say it, Jordy Lunn.
These two this week staying together and now racing together, Cam, here in Rotorua, New Zealand. It's going to be tense up there.
Ryan Howard on the left side of your screen. Now these two, this is hilarious to see them in the same heat right now.
Watch the gate.
Yeah, great guys. Both out the gate nicely across the wood.
Oh, looks
Into the
like
rollers.
Jordy's chain skipped a little bit upon the start.
Both doing a straight backflip over the first jump there.
And Ryan never does backflips. He's known for his flat, corked out 360s. So something unpredictable from Ryan Howard.
Yeah, he'll tell you himself he's a one-trick pony. Both even neck and neck coming off those logs into these flat turns.
Both of these riders with dual slalom backgrounds as well as jumps. Oh! Oh, cork 720 for Jordy Lunn, but an over-rotation
And
lands
just a
him on
safe
his
flat
side.
spin by Ryan Howard there.
Oh, brutal.
Let's take a look at that cork from Jordy again.
Well, Jordy Lunn qualified really high here because he was doing cork 720s in his qualifying runs. You know,
Throwing it all on the line there, Cam.
if you want big reward, you have to be willing to risk big as well, and that's what Jordy Lunn is known for. Unfortunately, not able to land that cork 720, so we gotta say that Ryan Howard will be the leader going into this next round. The big question is, what is the maximum differential? How much will Jordy Lunn have to make up?
Here we go, we've got the first jump. Both of them straight flips, perfect, landing side by side.
So we have a 40 for Jordy and a 40 for our dog, but here's where everything went wrong for Jordy.
So yeah, you see there, Ryan, perfect flat spin, gets a 48. And unfortunately for Jordy, because he didn't land his trick, he gets a -50 on his score, which really is going to affect him, as well as getting beaten by Ryan across the line.
Well, let's take a look now after the numbers have been crunched. This differential that Jordy Lunn will have to make up is a 9.19. So he's basically going to have to bank on our dog falling once they get back up there. It's not something that happens very often, but here's a look at how things are stacking up so far. What does the yellow mean, Bernard?
Here we go, Cam. We got the yellow. That means they are leading, trading into second run, when each of those riders switch courses and do all the same again. So we got Martis Soderstrom over Jake Kinney, Thomas Slavic over Tyler McCall, Mitch Tubey over LeRon.
Well, there we go. We're going to get them back up to the top. Switch courses when we return. This is the Mons Royale dual speed and style.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
I think the Crankworx event here in Rotorua, its sort of vibe, its energy, the culture that gets poured into it, it's pretty unique, I guess.
Nelson's a really cool place. It's on the ocean, so you have surfing right there and then riding and mountains, and definitely one of those places you want to travel around.
So many new places, it's pretty unreal.
You gotta come to New Zealand to try it. It's wicked, super fun.
New Zealand, every day a different trail. Well, welcome back, world. Whether you're from Canada or Kansas, Austria or Australia, if you're a mountain biker, you're tuning in to the Crankworx World Tour. We're down in the Southern Hemisphere, Rotorua, New Zealand. Beautiful atmosphere, great fans, and look at that dual speed and style course, Bernard.
That's it, Cam. The guys here do such a good job of building the course. Like we talked about last night, the dirt here is unreal. They can sculpt it exactly how they want it to just make such good tracks.
They call it brown magic. Isn't that the nickname for the dirt?
That's it, yeah.
It's forgiving, but you can sculpt it.
And I'm sure Barry Nobles likes that kind of dirt.
done a great job of that. Barry Nobles has been out here sampling everything from the race courses to the skills parks, and he's been sharing all of his experiences on social media. And look at that, we got a little interaction from one of his competitors too. Martin Soderstrom says he'll be cheering for Barry Nobles. That might be a little bit of a cheeky comment right there as he blows him a kiss with an emoji, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a little wind up. Who knows? Cheeky kiss.
You never know. They may end up in a bracket together. Stranger things have happened. But right now, he's bracketed up against Joe Simpson, who was out here last year, ripping it, if I remember correctly, throwing decades.
Yeah, great rider from New Zealand up against Barry Nobles out of America.
Decade is a really high scoring trick. We're going to see if we're going to be treated to one of those here shortly. Barry Nobles versus Joe Simpson.
Watch the gate.
Here we go, Cam. Both out of the gate, off that log into the first rollers. Barry super aggressive through there.
There's that decade from Joe Simpson.
Decade.
Perfect to the pedals.
Barry just throwing a nice flip in there, but neck and neck into that first turn. Barry Nobles leading it out, coming into this thing, with pedaling onto the log. Look at Joe. He's really hanging in. Barry getting blown by the wind a little bit there by the looks of it into the flat turns.
Well, you can look at Joe and tell he comes from a BMX jumping background. Look at that 360 table.
And the flip by Barry that wins over the line, and Joe by 0.43, so pretty tight there.
That is very tight. Well, last year he was throwing that decade, and if I remember correctly, he slipped a pedal, which definitely hurt him. This year, 2 feet right to the pedals. It looks like his face is almost celebrating as soon as those feet touch down, and he's right back into the race.
Here we are, both at the finish. Joe looks happy with his run, knows Barry got him, but the decade is going to score high, like you say, Cam.
Well, let's take a look at our scores. The judges have been in the tower tabulating. Barry Nobles. Was that a backflip Superman there, Bernard?
I'm not sure. He just got a 40 for it. But look at Joe's score on the first one, a 90, super high.
And then a 70 for Joe Simpson for that 360 table. So Joe getting great scores for his jumps. Barry crossing the finish line first, but was it enough? It was not. The leader is Joe Simpson being rewarded for those scores. Barry Nobles looks a little confused, but so does Joe.
Feet came off. Yeah, that's low. That's really low.
Here we go, and then back up to the top for the next round.
So I think that Barry Nobles did a backflip Superman, and that may be what he's talking about right there, saying my feet came off. So a little bit of drama here. So much going on in dual speed and style. 2 tricks side by side.
That's it, so much to look at always. And 2 great riders here. We've got Garrett Mitchum out of Santa Cruz, California, and Sam Reynolds, local boy from back home in England.
Great to see Garrett Mitchum out here. He's a kid from the town that I grew up. I remember seeing him show up to the local dirt jumps, always looking like a promising talent. Fast forward to now, he's all the way in Rotorua, New Zealand, competing against Sam Reynolds, one of the best slopestyle riders in the world, who's now focused attention more back toward the big bike. But showing up here for dual speed and style, it's great to see Sam Reynolds out.
That's it, and I got a fun fact for you about Sam Reynolds. Most people wouldn't know this, but he was actually Young Poet of the Year in Great Britain when he was a younger kid. So published poet Sam Reynolds, now turning it to biking, but he's a man of many talents.
A gentleman and a scholar. Look at, he was shaking his head. He's like, Bernard's going to say that, isn't he? He knew exactly what you were going to say.
He's smarter than he looks.
Well, Sam Reynolds versus Garrett Mitchum. This is going to be a great matchup, but right now, we have to reminisce about what just happened. And we heard Barry Nobles saying the feet came off, and I think he's maybe confused about the score. He had a 40, which is what you get for a straight backflip. But let's take a look back. Let's see if he did do a backflip Superman off of the first jump. Now, he's the rider on the left side of your screen. There it is. That was, in fact, a backflip Superman. That has to score higher than a 40, so we'll take the time, if the time's needed, to make sure that that's fixed, because you could even see Joe Simpson saying, wait a minute.
That's it, Cam. Like you say, it wasn't full extension, but his feet were off, so he should have been awarded higher than just a straight flip.
So it's good to see the sportsmanship out there. Martin Soderstrom commenting on Barry Nobles' post. Joe Simpson actually saying, hey, you should have got more score for that. It's a gentleman's game out here. Full of poets.
Full of poets. Well, everyone that rides bikes does it for fun. They want to be here for fun, so they don't want to see anyone get treated unfairly.
It is fun, but then we got to do it right as well, because this is a big deal here. We have the dual speed and style world championship up for grabs.
That's it, Cam. As well as King of Crankworx points. There's some big championships out here to be won.
How often do you have an opportunity to become a world champion in something? So these guys definitely want to make sure that the judging is proper, but let's get back to racing. What do you say?
Let's do it, Cam. Back up the top, Sam Reynolds and Garrett Mitchum in the gate. Sam on the right, Garrett on the left.
Ready? Watch the gate.
Here we go, Sam with a great start onto that first bit of wood into the rollers.
Huge start out of Sam Reynolds. Into the first jump.
Nice 360 by Sam and a flip by Garrett coming down into the second turn.
Looked like it was a backflip bar spin by Garrett Mitchum. He threw those bars so fast. Easy to miss it.
Didn't even catch it.
But there we go. Side by side over that cannon. Neck and neck through those gates.
Here we go into the last hit.
Oh, a double tail for Garrett Meacham.
Backflip no-hander by Sam Reynolds, both with great tricks out of the line. Sam Reynolds just edging me out on the speed side of things.
Now that was impressive. That double tail whip from Garrett Meacham. Let's take a look at the first jump here. It was a backflip bar spin for Garrett Meacham.
Just a straight 3 for Sam, but here on the last jump, we've got a backflip no-hander by Sam Reynolds.
And take a look at this double tail by Garrett Meacham. He has the racer's blood, feet off the pedals, somehow recovers and gets a couple pedal strokes in before the line. That's the kind of wherewithal you need for dual speed and style. Well, let's take a look at how these riders scored on that run.
No, it's Sam to say. Sam was clean over the line. Garrett did slip a pedal. Both really good tricks here.
There we go. A 70 for the backflip bar spin. A 40 for Sam Reynolds, 360. Into the last jump.
And they both score a 70 over that. Sam Reynolds, backflip no-hander, and the double tail for Garrett Meacham.
What's it gonna be?
And they're tied. Would you look at that?
You have got to be kidding me. I can't think of a time when that has happened before.
That might be the first.
Well, I love to see the judges respecting the difficulty of that double tail up and the correction and not just giving it a full dock because he got through the finish line. But that backflip no-hander, great extension for Sam Reynolds. It'll be interesting to see those guys back to the top, duking it out as if it was their first lap.
Pretty much, Cam. They're on 0-0 as far as anyone else is concerned.
So Kyle Strait in the gate next. This is head-to-head racing side by side. Sometimes the riders get so incredibly close to each other, and they were really close in Leger. Kyle Strait in dual speed and style alongside one of his competitors. Take a look at this contact that was made in the air off the first jump. A little bit of a transfer there from the rider on the right side course. Kyle Strait bumps into him. They both go down. Bike parts flying everywhere, rear wheel off of that guy's bike. Kyle Strait, I thought for sure he broke his foot, but you can't keep this guy down. He was completely fine, believe it or not. But that's what it's all about here in dual speed and style. You got to make sure you're landing your tricks, but staying in your lane too.
That's it, Cam. You want to do tricks, but you can't be out of control. You still need to come out of them well, keep speed, and obviously try not to take the other guy out in the meantime.
Well, especially if the other guy is one of your best buds. We got Kyle Strait versus Austin, Bubba Warren. They live in the same town. They train together.
And here we go, both out of the gate. Cross the rollers into the first hit.
Oh, backflip for both riders.
With Kyle just getting the edge as they land there into the first turn.
Now, no question marks here for Kyle or Bubba. They know what the other one has up their sleeve. They train together. They've built specific sections of trail to mimic these dual speed and style tracks at the Crankworx events.
That's it, neck and neck through those flat turns in the last hit. Flip by Austin Warren and a tail whip by Kyle Strait.
Wait a minute! You gotta be kidding me! They crossed the finish line at the same exact time.
That is incredible, 2 dead heats in a row.
What are the odds of that?
Right, now let's take a look at the flat turns. We've seen the jumps, we've seen the tricks, but let's see where it's easy to throw it away at the bottom of the track.
Well, that's a great thing to look at right now because they finished at the same exact time.
And you even see that there, Kyle at the start almost lost his front wheel, but just manages to hang on to it.
Now, Kyle Strait has won the dual slalom at Sea Otter Classic, which is one of the most historic dual slaloms in existence.
Yeah, he's a great slalom rider, and throwing the tricks in now, he's going to be good at it.
Well, take a look at how those tricks were scored. Back up to the top, a backflip for each rider. You got to think they're going to have the same score. They do, so they're still tied.
Still tied. Into the last jump, a straight flip by Austin Warren and a tail whip by Kyle, clean to the pedals.
So 10 points more for Kyle Strait. He will be the leader going in to the next round when they switch sides, but only by 0.14, so a little bit more points awarded for that tail up over the flip.
That's it, it's a technical trick, but 0.14, Cam, that's a super tight race going into the second round.
Jakob Wenzel up in the gate. This guy was so dominant last year, especially at the early part of the season, winning the first 2 rounds and then staying consistent for the rest of the season, taking home that title of the overall champion. And we were asking ourselves earlier today, is he going to be able to keep the good times rolling? He established himself as the man to beat last year. And right now we're about to find out if that's still the case. That's Jakob Wenzel on the right side of your screen against your fellow countryman, Chaos Seagrave.
That's it, fellow World Cup racer, great bike handler, and he's got the tricks, you know. He knows how to race, that's usually what he does, but he's at Crankworx now. Him and his sister have flown over here, and he's a great rider, so it'll be good to see what he's got in store for us tonight.
A lot of question marks, actually. You got Chaos Seagrave, a World Cup racer. What tricks does he have? I mean, we saw some flips in practice and preliminaries. And then on the other side, you have the dual speed and style world champion from the 2017 season. What's it going to be? They are off and running.
And a flip by Chaos, and look, a 3 no-hander by Jakob Wenzel on the right there.
That's the trick that he used consistently to earn all those points last year, giving him that world championship status.
He looks like he'll be edging out Chaos here into that log, into the flat turns at the bottom of the track. Chaos really needs to put the power down now here and try and bring it home.
Well, Chaos is looking good, but Jakob definitely stretching that margin there with that backflip, double X up.
Yeah, with Chaos, just a straight slip, smooth, but it's not quite enough, and trailing by 0.27 on the time side of things.
Now, this is great about dual speed and style. It's maybe the most exciting part, is you're looking at somebody who is now training specifically for dual speed and style, and then somebody who spends their year racing World Cup downhill. There's a lot of skills that will help out, but tricks. Who knew he could do backflips?
Exactly. They were 2 solid flips by Chaos. And he was fast, but Jakob, as we know, is so talented at speed and style. Your reigning world champion. He's that for a reason, Cam.
You have to expect that lead to be increased now after the judges give the scores. The scores are a 40 for Chaos up top against the 70 for that 360 tuck no-hander from Jakob.
The judges love to see the combinations, Cam.
Here's the last jump. What do we have?
We have Chaos with a backflip, and just, yeah, Jakob Wenzel with the double X-up flip again, the same as what we saw him use all of last year.
And that double X-up flip scoring high again, a 75. So this strategy that worked so well for him in 2017, he might as well just stay the course in 2018. Well, let's sound it down to Michaela Gatto, who's standing by with Jakob Wenzel.
Thanks, Cam. I'm here with Jakob, reigning king of the dual speed style series here for last year. You've got style for miles, but speed, you're missing a lot of hair. Is that to help you with your aerodynamics, or?
Nah, that's just being old, you know. Sometimes when you get older, you maybe lose a bit of a hair, but maybe it's gonna help with the speed, you know. So, could work.
I think it is. I think it is. Well, thanks so much, and we will be looking forward to your second run.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Yeah, Michaela. Well, it's great to see Jakob picking right up where he left off. Last season, a year ago, he had the longest hair ever. He looked like this aggro Hessian heavy metal guy, which he is, but now he's just going a little bit more sleek in approach.
That's it. Maybe he's seen the World Cup races, short hair, and he's just trying to take after them.
Whatever it is, it's working. Right now, we're going to take a look at all these guys who have their names highlighted in yellow. Something's working for them as well.
That's it, Cam. They're leading going into round 2. We've got 16 riders. We're about to do the second round of them, where they're all going to switch course and go again.
And take a look at Garrett Meacham and Sam Reynolds. Neither of them are yellow because they tied. That's ridiculous. Well, take a look at this course. It's a thing of beauty, similar to what we've had the last few years. And one of our favorite riders out there, Martin Soderstrom, he actually had the chance to strap a GoPro to his head and give us a course preview. Take a look.
Up everyone, this is Martin Soderstrom standing here on top of the Speed and Style course here at Rotorua Crankworx. And yeah, just follow me now. Oh yeah!
What? That has got to be the best course preview I've ever seen with that 360 camera. Have you ever seen angles like that?
That was insane, Cam. That was so cool. We could see what Martin was up to. We could see what Ryan Howard was up to. That was incredible.
Makes you want to get out there and ride, doesn't it? But we're up here. We're going to watch these guys because look at this. We have a couple of the best in the world up there in the starting gate. Martin Soderstrom on the right side of your screen going up against Jake Kinney. Martin Soderstrom has the advantage of 0.37.
Here we go, Cam. They're getting ready.
Like you said before, these guys ride together at Woodward West. They know what they have up their sleeves. What's it going to be?
Both neck and neck off that first wooden feature and those rollers again.
First jump, a tail up for Martin Soderstrom.
Looks like Jake Kinney missed a trick. Something must have happened there. It looked like a straight air, which he'll get penalized for.
Well, Jake Kinney, not one to typically miss a trick. He must have been trying some sort of technical combo upright. Sometimes if you're not committing to those rotational tricks, it's hard to pull the trigger on those combos.
Definitely. Both smooth through the flat turns, even in this last jump. Martin with a nice 3, and Jake Kinney with a whip.
Well, it's almost looking like Jake Kinney is waving this one off right there. Not sure why. But Martin Soderstrom, look at this. We got Antoine Bizet on screen right there. Great to see him out here taking part in the festivities.
That's it. It's a great event to come watch for everyone, Cam. It's nice out here. There's a good crowd, and why not? It's the Mons Royale Dual Speed and Style. It's a great evening.
It's one of the best nights of the year, absolutely. Let's take a look at our scores coming in. Martin Soderstrom tricking all the jumps. Jake Kinney deciding not to right now. It looked almost like he was prepping for some sort of bar spin off that first jump.
That's it, Cam. I think he had something in mind. He missed it, and then, I mean, he would have had to beat Martin by some margin. He knew it was over. He's having fun on the last jump. Martin throws a 3.
Well, that's the first look that we've had so far of what it's like when somebody doesn't do a trick. It's minus 50. So now we're going to actually be adding time onto his run. So Martin Soderstrom will advance, moving into the next bracket.
He's got to be happy with that. Although his friend's gone, he's going forward into the round of 8. Good work, Martin.
Thank you.
Now, Martin will face the winner of our next heat between Thomas Slavic, who has the advantage, over Tyler McCall. Thomas Slavic turning a new chapter this year, deciding to do backflips, and he's sharing his Rotorua experience on Instagram. Last night's pump track challenge.
That's it. He's great at pump track, and after qualifying second, like he says on Instagram, he wanted to do better than 6th. He's in the chase for the king of Crankworx, but that's not going to stop him. He's won this event before. He knows what it takes. And like we said, he's got the flips now, Cam. He's got the tricks. He's got the speed. I think he could be a heavy contender tonight.
Progressing year to year, doing what it takes to get those valuable points in all of these disciplines. Now, Tyler McCall, somebody who trains specifically for this. He has a special bike setup for it. He's going to have to dig deep if he wants to advance out of this round.
Straight flip by Thomas Slavic, and a backflip bar spin like by Tyler McCall there, getting the combo in.
Thomas Slavic in the lead, but Tyler McCall holding tight.
Coming in this inside here, Tyler will pull back on Slavic, neck and neck going up onto the wood with Slavic with a slight advantage into the flat turns.
And the advantage coming into this second round. Tyler's going to need something big on this last jump. The cork flip, knack straight back to the pedals and through the finish line.
Great race, great tricks. Let's take a look at the berms in a second. Another feature of the track that we haven't looked at that much. We see the tricks all the time. There's corners, Cam.
Yeah, we have the flat corners and the bermed corners, each requiring a different skill set to carry speed into, out of. First up, the berms, Bernard.
That's it. You come down, you need a brake, you need a setup, but you've got to come out with some speed as well. You don't want to go too hot because you'll lose all your speed. You don't want to go too slow because you need to come out with speed. And you see here, you've got a tight on the inside. Tyler really straightens his leg into that, pushes in, and gets a good pump out.
That inside left-hander is such a steep berm. The G-force is involved with that one right here. Well, Thomas Slavic and Tyler McCall anxiously awaiting the scores here. We're going to get a look back at the jumps as we're getting our scores in. A backflip bar spin for Tyler McCall, good enough for a 70. The straight backflip gives Thomas Slavic a 40. So here we go. Tyler making up a little bit of ground now. Is it going to be enough? The last jump, what did he do?
He got a 70 again for that cork 3 knack, and Slavic straight flip again, just gets the 40, but Slavic did get across the line first.
So rewarded for those backflip combinations, 2 different ones. Thomas Slavic will advance into the next round, having .52 over Tyler McCall. So Thomas, the backflip preparation is absolutely paying off.
It's definitely paying off for him. He's worked hard on those. I bet he didn't want to do those before. But this new event, it's the speed and style. He has to learn these things.
Yeah, if he wants to keep yellow on his name and move into the next brackets, he's going to need to do that. He'll be facing Martin Soderstrom in the round of 8.
Next up, we're going to have Adrian Lauren versus Mitch Tubey, run 2.
And Mitch definitely gave Lerone a run for his money there. If I remember correctly, Mitch has the advantage. Yes, he does. The leader by .28 over our reigning king of Crankworx, Adrian Lerone.
And they're off.
Good snap.
First rollers.
Oh.
Mitch Tubey with a backflip bar spin. Adrian Lerone with a 360 table there.
Well, Mitch Tubey, a formidable opponent in any of these disciplines, but a lot of people don't take him seriously, and that is a mistake because look at him go coming into this round as the leader.
That's it. Slight advantage to Adrian Laurent getting the last jump here, but what's Chuby got for us?
Oh, the backflip tail for Chuby through the finish line.
Slips the pedal, but gets through the line smooth. Slightly slower than Adrian Laurent, 1 second down, but with the better tricks, a couple of combinations in there.
It's all about pedaling out here in the race portion, and when you're doing a difficult trick like a backflip tail up, you got to get on those pedals. Chuby finding them and sprinting, but take a look at every opportunity Laurent takes to squeeze a pedal in throughout this course.
Impressive rider and pedals everywhere he can.
Look at that, squeezing a pedal out of that right-hand berm.
Right, let's check out the scores now, Cam. Anxiously awaiting.
And here are our replays of the jumps with the scores. We had the 360 table by Adrian Laurent, really doing what he needed to do right there. Mitch Chuby doing the backflip bar spin, but they both scored the same, a 70.
Oh, and Adrian Laurent with a backflip no-hander there on the last jump. I missed that.
And huge extension for Adrian Laurent on that backflip no-hander. So he's coming out swinging here today, scoring a 70 and a 70. But Chuby had an 80 for that backflip tail-up, but it's not going to be enough. Unfortunately for Mitch Chuby, he'll become a spectator right now. But Adrian Laurent is doing absolutely what he needs to do in order to rack up those points and defend his crown.
Right, back up to the top, this next heat. We've got Ryan Howard and Geordie Lunn, the roommates.
Two guys cut from the same thread. They love going fast. They love chucking tricks.
That's it. Sometimes these guys race, sometimes they just have fun.
Think back to run number one. Geordie going for broke with that Quarterfinal 720. He has a 9.19 to make up.
Here you go, Cam. Dead heat again onto the wood. Ryan Howard wheeling off.
Here comes Geordie. He gets the 720 off the first jump. Come on.
Incredible. Landed so smooth. As smooth as I say, Ryan's flat spin right next to him. Neck and neck through the rollers here. Going into this tight left-hander before the log into the flat turns.
Geordie Lunn keeping his eyes on the prize despite the 9.91 differential he has to make up. What's he going to do on the last jump?
Just a straight jump. Ryan Howard with his signature one-trick pony move. And Geordie Lunn, unfortunately, 0.2 down on that one. And straight jump the last jump there, Cam.
But that is classic Geordie Lunn style, knowing that he probably wasn't going to knock our dog out, but he wanted to land that 720 for himself, for the fans. Take a look, savor the moment.
That's it. He's a true competitor, true showman. Amazing cork 720 there on the first jump.
Now, taking it back to 2006, he was the first guy to land that on a mountain bike. Hanging out at the Bear Claw Invitational, decides to drop in right before the competition started, stomp that trick. Everybody lost their minds, and Geordie Lunn still a crowd favorite out there. Unfortunately, he's now going to be a member of the crowd, as Ryan Howard will undoubtedly be moving out of this round. But I gotta love the one-handed fist pump with the laugh. You could just hear Geordie laughing over that finish line jump.
That's it, Cam. We're going to take a back look at the scores here.
So a perfect 100 rewarded for the Cork 720.
I mean, he deserves it. Did you see that? So smoothly landed.
But I love this.
Just having a good time, laughing at his buddy next to him. He knows he's not going to make up that 9-second deficit.
You gotta love these two guys. Our dog moving into the next round. Geordie Lunn, grab yourself a beer, buddy. Well, next up at the top, we have Joe Simpson versus Barry Nobles. And this was our run that we had a little bit of controversy. Let's take a look back at what stemmed that controversy. It was all about the first jump, Bernard.
That's it, Cam. Sometimes the camera angles don't quite show it. And you just see there, Barry's feet do come off the pedals for that backflip Superman. But I guess it got missed.
And we've seen backflips scoring a 40. Look at this, Joe Simpson shaking his head going, you know what? My competitor, I know I'm racing him, but he deserves more points for that.
That's it. Great friends, Cam. Everyone wants to ride bikes for fun. Even if it's a competition, you don't want it to be unfair.
So Joe Simpson stomping the pedals on that decade off the first jump. He had a nice 360 table. What's it going to be? They're on opposite courses now. Here we go.
Watch the gate.
Barry Nobles, that amazing BMX start. You see him thrust his hips forward into the bars.
Oh, backflip tuck no-hander for Barry Nobles, and another perfect decade, maybe even more perfect from Joe Simpson.
That's it, and holding great speed, neck and neck with Barry here, going down the track.
Well, who's going to have the advantage here in these flat corners, Bernard?
I think Barry squashed off that so well and is holding his own through here.
Into the final jump. Both riders have big tricks. A straight backflip for Barry Nobles, a 360 table, sprinted across the finish line for Joe Simpson, but Barry Nobles crosses first with an advantage of 0.72.
That's a tight one, Cam, really. There was a slight problem in the first race, so we're going to have to see what happens. But let's take it back to the top here. Barry Nobles with that backflip no-hander, landing deep. And look at that, though. Barry Nobles pumped so hard with his leg through those rollers, really getting the speed, and again, cranking out of that turn, making everything he can happen.
Well, we know the local Rotorua crowd is going to be cheering for Joe Simpson right now, but Barry Noble's been coming out here year after year. I know he's got a lot of fans out here. Who do the judges like?
With a 90. Barry landed deep, but still got a nice 70 for that backflip no-hander.
Good extension on that no-hander, so the 70 is definitely warranted there. And then a 360 table for Joe Simpson. What did he get?
He got a 64 for that, and Barry obviously was looking for something more in the flip there, but only managed the flip, so just got a 40 for it.
So hopefully Barry won't be kicking himself for missing the variation on that last jump. Unfortunately for Barry Nobles, he will be. Joe Simpson, in an upset, advances over Barry Nobles. The crowd goes wild for him. Congrats to Joe Simpson. He'll be moving into the next round. Here are our brackets. Joe Simpson now is going to be going up against the winner of our next heat.
Garrett Metcham and Sam Reynolds going up in the next heat, which are a dead heat, remember, from the first round. After the tricks and the timing, they were completely even. We've literally never seen that, Cam.
That just straight up doesn't happen. The odds of that happening are so slim. These riders so incredibly evenly matched.
Watch the gate.
Sam with another good start, edging away off that log into those rollers for the first hit.
Oh, a truck driver for Sam Reynolds and a backflip bar spin for Garrett Meacham. I have a feeling that's what Sam was looking for in his first run, but wasn't able to get it.
Yeah, both great tricks, both landed perfect. Both holding really good speed down here, coming into this log. Maybe Garrett, the slight advantage in the flat turns here over Sam Reynolds. Sam really needs to put on the heat here down to the finish line.
The unknown rider out of Santa Cruz, California, going down the double tail whip.
Trying to make it happen there. He knew Sam was right next to him. Sam's got the flip no hand, and he was trying to make it happen, like you say, Cam. Unfortunately, just going down before the line.
An unfortunate bail there for Garrett Meacham, but great to see him hop right back up. He's a tough kid. He's back on the bike. Some great sportsmanship there from Sam Reynolds, but let's take a look back up at the start.
You see that Sam Reynolds thrust his hips forwards. He used to race four cross and things back in the day. He knows what it takes. He's a bike length ahead going through those first rollers before this jump.
And he gets that truck driver. You got to think that's what he was looking for in run one. You never see Sam Reynolds do a straight 360. So
no,
he got that variation.
Rider. Garrett Mitcham's got to be annoyed, but he put it all out there.
All right, here are our scores, Bernard.
Sam Reynolds with a 75, Garrett with a 70, pretty even over the first one. Slight advantage to Sam Reynolds there.
So the 360 with a bar spin scoring higher than the backflip with a bar spin. A great extended flip tuck no hander, but what went wrong on that double tail up?
There was Garrett there. You see he just misses the pedals and then goes out the front door. Luckily he's okay, but he gets a -50 for missing the trick and hitting the ground.
Well, that's why that double tail up scored him so high in the first run. It's because it's worth so much. It's dangerous, it's difficult, and sometimes it doesn't go your way. So Sam Reynolds will be moving out of this round and facing off against Joe Simpson in the round of 8.
Right, back up to the top here. We got Kyle Strait and Austin Warren, the two guys from the same hometown. Kyle on the right course, Austin Warren on the left, with a .14 deficit. Not a lot coming into this race. Both out of the gate into the first rollers, pretty even here.
No surprise to see two riders who live close to each other, train together. Wow, Kyle tripling into that section.
That's it, both a nice straight, smooth flip on the first jump. Pretty neck and neck here, going into these jumps into the log.
No surprise to see them so close in that first round because they do train together, but only one can escape this bracket.
That's it, tail whip by Kyle Strait, a backflip by Austin Warren, and Austin Warren just behind Kyle by .23 there, going over the finish line.
Another tight margin But let's look back at a little trick that Kyle Straight had up his sleeve right here in this rhythm section. He tripled into that right-hand berm. We don't see that very often, do we?
Carrying so much speed. It's riskier, but it can pay off for you, Cam, as you see here, with a .235 time advantage over Austin Warren.
Well, the advantage in time goes to Kyle Straight. He had some technical tricks. He did the tail up on the bottom, which typically scores higher than a backflip because there's added risk. You're separating yourself from the bike. Let's listen in here.
Tail in the last jump, as the bike got here, I was like, full wind.
I think they're talking about the wind out there, Cam.
Well, when you're doing a backflip in the wind, you kind of push through it. You have your own rotational stability.
That's it.
And you're pushing through the wind, but the judges love to see that tail up, and it's so much harder to do in the wind. So a 40 for both riders doing the backflip off the first jump. Let's see what the tail up got for Kyle on the last jump.
Scored slightly higher. Like they're saying, it's windy out there. You're separating yourself from the bike. Kyle got a 50 for that. Austin with the 40 for the flip again.
So it doesn't take a mathematician to know that Kyle crossed the finish line first. He had a higher trick score. That means he will advance into the round of 8. Austin Warren, it'll be the end of his night, but he'll be back for the downhill.
That's it. We've got to think now with Kyle Straight. He knows it's windy out there. He's felt the wind push his bike. Is he going to keep doing the tail whips, even though he knows they're good and they score him well with the judges? Who knows? If it gets windier, it could be riskier, and he doesn't want to go down.
Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, that classic Mike Tyson quote, and it's so true here in dual speed and style. So many factors at play, who you're competing against, what the weather conditions are doing, how the dirt is. The strategies change as the night goes on.
That's it, Cam. It's good out there now, and he stuck that tail whip nicely, but with a little bit more wind, who knows what he's going to be doing out there.
Well, Kyle Straight moving into the round of 8, but this next bracket will determine who he's riding. It's going to be Jakob Wenzel, the man you see on the screen right now, the dual speed and style world champion from the 2017 season, going up against World Cup racer Chaos Seagrave from Great Britain.
Yeah, Chaos trailing here on the time, but you never know. Anything could happen. Like we said, the weather's coming into play, and Chaos, he's a fast guy, and he's doing the tricks now.
That's the great thing about dual speed and style. Everybody from slopestyle riders like Jakob Wenzel to World Cup downhill racers like Chaos Seagrave, they could be facing off in the same discipline.
That's it, Cam. It's a great style of racing. Everybody loves it, and the crowd, it's awesome to watch.
Here we go, into the first jump.
Straight flip by Chaos, another 3 no-hander by Jakob Wenzel.
Jakob has his strategy. It works so well for him, giving him that world championship title in dual speed and style from last year.
That's it, but Chaos edging out here, getting quite a lead into that log, and starting it up off that with a 1-foot downside over Jakob Wenzel there.
That is not a judged feature. That was just for fun from Chaos Seagrave. You gotta love the energy. Oh, backflip triple X up from Jakob Wenzel.
That was an awesome race. Chaos having a bit of fun with it, but still throwing the tricks, good speed, and beating Jakob by 0.9 that time.
Well, carrying speed is the name of the game. It was the name of the game last night in the pump track, but there's a lot of rollers on this course. Take a look at how they generate speed through these rollers.
That's it, Cam. You see Chaos there pulling really with his arms over the rollers and then gapping from one to the next in that turn to really get the downside pump.
Well, Jakob Wenzel, I guess he answered one of our big questions at the start of the broadcast. Is he going to keep the train rolling from last year, carry the momentum? Let's look at that first jump, that classic Jakob Wenzel move, the 360 tuck no-hander. He scores a 67. Judges being a little bit harder on him that time, maybe nitpicking his extension, but look at this. He's been doing a backflip with 2 X-ups. Count them. How many X-ups was that?
There's 3. He's going one way, back the other, and back the other. He's just penduluming off each one. With an 80 on that final jump, Jakob Wenzel is going to advance. Chaos Seagrave out. It's a shame. He had a good time. And only 1.18 back. Well, I think we're going to see him back here, Cam.
Yeah, I'm hoping we see him back in Innsbruck because Chaos Seagrave definitely has what it takes. Take a look at our brackets so far here in our round of 8. Matchups like Martin Soderstrom versus Thomas Slavic, Kyle Straight versus Jakob Wenzel. That should be a good one.
That's
Joe
awesome
Simpson from New Zealand against Sam Reynolds.
And then Adrian Aron, Brian Howard. We just got the one-trick pony. We got the racer. Like we say, Adrian Aron, he's out here. He's the defending king of Crankworx. He really wants to get some points tonight, and he's showing that in his head, he's strong tonight. He's feeling good.
It's heating up to say the least. Stick around. We got more action coming your way.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Love the feeling of being truly awake. After 15 years of extensive worldwide testing, the following are scientifically recognized methods of showing support for your favorite rider. Air horn, vuvuzela, novelty homemade signage, Instagram hashtag, cowbell, thunder stick, screaming. However, studies have shown that fan nakedness has a detrimental effect on athlete performance. And that's why you need this. But you can't get it here. It's only available on site at the best mountain bike destinations on planet Earth. Yeah, Fox. Big kudos to Fox for creating all that great Crankworx merch. The best destinations in the world, that's where you'll find the best clothes in the world. Fox right there, bringing it to you. Well, take a look at where we stand so far. We're into the round of 8. What are these matchups looking like for you, Bernard?
There's some great ones. We've got Martin Soderstrom and Thomas Slavik. I think that's one of the real hot ones. The first one we get. We got the slopestyle guy against the fast guy. But we've seen Slavik throwing those flips tonight, Cam. He's going for it.
All right, well, we're moving around. We got Adrian Lerone versus Ryan Howard moving down the list. But that first bracket, you just spelled it out for us. This one's definitely going to be a doozy. A guy like Martin Soderstrom, who has so many tricks, he's trying to decide which ones to do right now, because Thomas Slavik, he's a different competitor than he was last year. He was a straight air guy last year. Not anymore.
He's still a racer. He's still clipped in, but you see him throwing those flips. So he's really upped his game coming into this speed and style season.
And that's something to mention, too. I'm glad you brought that up. Clipped in flipping.
Yeah, that's
There's no easy way out.
Yeah, you're committed to that bike. And they're off. Slavik with a great start, but Martin right by him.
Oh, a double tail whip this time for Martin Soderstrom, knowing that Slavik's new strategy for this year is working. He's got to dig a little bit deeper.
That's it. Slavik pumping super hard, but Martin is not far behind on the other line. Coming into the flat turns here. Slavik edging Martin out a little bit going into this last feature.
Last jump. We're going to see a backflip from Slavik. That classic 360 tabletop from Martin Soderstrom, and a 0.87 difference between Thomas Slavik and Martin Soderstrom. Slavik with the advantage so far.
And you see him here squashing so hard off that log trying to keep speed. planted. His feet aren't moving off the pedals. Like we said, he's clipped in, he's focused. He's almost trying to even pedal, but as he comes out, he's straight back on the cranks after he gets out of shot there.
Those slow-mo replays are really where you get the opportunity to appreciate the traction of those tires on the ground without the aid of a berm, just drifting around those gates.
That's it. He's some talented rider, but let's check out the course, Cam.
All right, here's the first jump. A straight backflip for Thomas Slavic. Of course, that's going to get a 40. That's what it's been scoring all night. But a 90 for that double tail up. Martin digging deep, doing what he needs to do against such a formidable opponent.
That's it, perfect to the pedals on that first one as well. And here, another good flip by Slavic, but look at that 3 table by Martin. He really holds it and then hammers the line on the pedals.
That's one thing you don't see in slopestyle, landing a trick and then sprinting.
That's it, but point 3, Martin's got the advantage over Slavic. You see that, because the tricks are scored so highly, Slavic is now on the back foot, even after coming across the line first.
Well, we're gonna see how many rounds just a straight backflip will get you through in 2018. Slavic right now into the round of 8, but will he advance past Martin? I don't know. Martin with the advantage at this point as we focus our attention back to the start of the course. This matchup should be good.
Yeah, defending king of Crankworx, Adrian Laron against the one-trick style pony, Ryan Howard on the right course.
Ryan Howard claims he has 1 trick, but we've seen 2 from him already today.
Seen more, but we know he's got 1, super dialed. It looks amazing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that come out tonight.
I'll tell you what, I know he's got a whole lot more too. He just wants you to think he's only got 1. How deep into the bag is he willing to dig right now against Adrian Laron?
They're off cam. Pretty even start there. Ryan Howard really making it work for him. With a flip no-hander over the first. Adrian Laron straight flip, but Ryan, like you say, digging into that bag of tricks he's got of his.
I think he surprised Laron right there. Laron took hands off on his flip on the bottom earlier this evening.
And right neck
Ryan
and neck.
Howard
coming off the log here in the flat turns. It's anybody's race going into this last feature.
Last jump, what's it gonna be? Oh, the turnbuckle 360 with all the style in the world for Ryan Howard. It looked like Adrian Laron was trying to get his hands off on his backflip, but only 0.14 separating those 2 guys.
That's it, Cam. Such a tight race there. Both really having the speed. And Ryan digging into that bag of tricks. Like we said, he did the turnbuckle on the last jump and the flip no-hand on the first. I don't know if I've ever seen Ryan Howard do that before.
I have. I told you, I know he has more back there. He's holding out on us, but not anymore. Getting that variation. Let's take a look back at the replays and the scores for this first jump right here. A 360. He gets a bit of a table. Adrian Laron scoring a 60, but our dog rewarded for taking the hands off while upside down. Great extension, straightening those arms. That's a 70.
And the last jump here, a 55 for Ryan. It wasn't even just a 3, you see. We call it a turnbuckle. He hangs off the side of the bike, spikes the rear end up. Adrian Laron, straight flip, a nice 40.
It just looks great. It's counter steering, turning the wrong way based on the way you're spinning. Leader going into this next round here, Ryan Howard by an advantage of, look like, 0.2.
Yeah, 0.2 going into the next round. It's tight, but any advantage you can get, you want it.
Well, Laron definitely having to earn his way out of the last round against Mitch Chubey, and then Ryan Howard not making it easy for our reigning king of Crankworx.
Not at all, Cam. And next up, we got Sam Reynolds on the right and Joe Simpson from New Zealand on the left.
Watch the gate.
Sam with another good start. You see slingshotting his body forward into those first rollers.
Sam into the jump first.
A 360 bar spin, landing a little sideways. Joe with that decade again.
Joe with perfection on that decade, stomping 3 in a row under pressure.
Sam Reynolds really turning up the heat here coming down the track into this log. Into the flat turns here. Sam Reynolds pedaling between them, really trying to get the speed down. Just a straight flip. Joe Simpson got the 3 table there, so that might be scored a little bit higher, you would think. Well, trailing by 0.82 to Sam Reynolds on the time side of things.
One thing that's really impressive is watching Sam Reynolds and his race skills. Take a look at this start.
You see here? Launches his hips forward straight out of the gate, and it really gives him that little bit of drive onto the log. You see him drop off before Joe there on the right of your screen.
It's all about the timing, isn't it? You don't know when that gate's going to drop.
That's it. It's a random thing. But look, let's have a look at the scores, Cam, on the trick side of the track.
Here's the first jump. A 360 bar spin, we call that a truck driver, and a decade when the body is spinning around, the bike stays stationary. Joe Simpson scoring a 90 for that, a 71 for Sam Reynolds.
That's it, starting slightly better. And then on the last jump, a 68 for Joe Simpson and a 40 for Sam Reynolds. It looked like he was going for a trick there on the backflip, but just straight, so only got a 40.
Well, you can see the dust being carried by the wind right there, making all of these trick variations more difficult on that last jump. So Sam Reynolds, the leader after that first time down the hill over Joe Simpson. We'll get them back to the start of the course. A lot of really tight battles out here.
That's it. 0.17 Cam, it's an advantage, but it's not huge. That's easy to make up or lose coming into your second round after you switch tracks.
There's the man right there. The 2017 dual speed and style world champion looking to defend that title. He looks to be on point this year. Jakob Wenzel, this time going up against Kyle Straight.
Yeah, we've seen Kyle running great all week. He's super strong. He knows what it takes to win these events.
Well, so does Kyle Straight. He's had so many wins in so many different disciplines throughout his long career. He was the child prodigy. He's done it all. He's won Rampage.
If you see there, Kyle put his hand up, and I think what it is the wind. You can feel it out here, and he's asked for a hold, but it looks like now they're ready to go.
When you've won things like Rampage twice like he has, you know the effects that wind has on a bicycle flying through the air.
And here they are, out the gate. Kyle's so strong. He's a big guy.
Oh!
A backflip bar spin from Kyle Straight there, and it looked like a 360 double bar spin maybe from Jakob Wenzel.
It looked like a 360 double bar spin and a backflip bar spin for Kyle Straight, but that was so unexpected to see Kyle Straight throwing that backflip bar spin.
Coming into the flat turns, Kyle with a slight advantage going into this last jump here. And there's a tail whip. You could see Kyle really concentrating. Jakob with his signature.
Fitting as many X-ups as he can into a backflip. It's been working so well for him right there. But man, I can't wait to see a replay of that first jump. We've got a truck driver variation from Jakob Wenzel. We're going to get a look at that. But Kyle Straight stepping far outside of his comfort zone with that backflip bar spin.
That's it. He knows he's a fast guy, Kyle Straight, but he knows he's up against the reigning world champion in this discipline. So he knows he has to adapt and create some new tricks and do things he wouldn't normally do.
Well, he's been practicing hard out there at his private training facility, the Straight Acres. He's got a mulch jump that he built specifically to mimic the jumps you see out here on these Crankworx dual speed and style courses, and it's really paying off. All right, take a look back. The first jump, it's a 360 double bar spin for Jakob Wenzel.
Kyle Straight just with the backflip bar spin. Like we say, we wouldn't expect that from Kyle Straight. Super smooth and getting the advantage there in that next straight.
I knew he'd been working on that, but it's so hard to pull it out under pressure, under speed, with a rider right next to you.
That's
You
it.
can hear them breathing. You can feel the wind rushing off of the bars as they spin 2 times around.
Absolutely pinned. Here they are, riders are awaiting the score, anxious in the finish area.
The judges taking their time for that score right now, but as we wait for those scores, there we go. Here are our scores. Look back up to the top of the course. A 70 for that backflip bar spin from Kyle Straight. A 90 for the 360 with 2 bar spins. We call the double truck driver from Jakob Wenzel.
And the last jump here, you got Kyle Straight really concentrating on that tail up, getting a nice 50. And Jakob Wenzel with his backflip, X up to X up again with a nice 75 score.
So sometimes he needs the backflip triple X up. Sometimes he'll keep it to the backflip double X up, and somehow knowing exactly what to do here, just barely edging out Kyle Straight by 0.09. Jakob Wenzel leading this matchup so far. Well, great to see Kyle Straight going for that backflip bar spin. I want to hear what encouraged him to pull out all the stops. Luckily, Michaela's standing by.
Thanks, Cam. I'm here with Kyle. So exactly what happened up there? You were holding your hand up. Were you feeling the wind, that backflip bar spin? What was going through you?
Yeah, you know, it's sitting at the top, getting in the gate, getting ready, and yeah, there was a huge gust that came in. So, I mean, the cadence hadn't started, so I gave it a quick second, and just a little thing to make you feel better when it's not gusting straight at you.
So, and that straight out of the gate after the wind, the trick you just did, that's not typical for you.
Yeah, it's a new trick I've been trying to work on for a bit. You know, I just kind of keep stepping it up, but we'll see if I can make it on to the next round.
I believe in you.
Thanks.
Right on. Thanks, Michaela. Everybody bringing new tricks to this 2018 season, but talk about the wind, and then let's talk about the trick he did on the last jump, the tail up. Not an easy trick to do in the wind.
That's it, Cam. You could see when you watch closely, he really slowed that down, really concentrated on it. He knows it's windy out here now. There's a few gusts coming and going. He waited for the one he felt on the start. Like he said, if it's blowing in your face at the time, it doesn't feel good. You just want that vote of confidence.
Well, so many little battles here throughout the Crankworx World Tour season. Little decisions like that, deciding what tricks to do. Adrian Leroy made all the right decisions last year. Let's take a look at what it takes to become the king.
What exactly defines the best mountain biker in the world? Is it someone that can ride any condition, an athlete that can take on any discipline, or is it someone who can take on all comers of the sport? When talking about the King and Queen of Crankworx title, the answer to all of these questions is yes.
I've always watched who's in the lead and what events they've been doing. And you see some surprise things like people just being consistent in one event and that really puts them up there. But I'm definitely not counting myself out yet.
For the overall title, you have to be a well-rounded rider. There's no like, I'm just going to be a pump track person and that's it. For me, I feel like I have a really good grasp on well-rounded skills.
To be honest, I didn't collect that much points this year, but I'm going to try my best to be within these competitions. I'm going to try to win some of them and let's see how the other guys do.
When people are starting to know you, it's a different pressure. It's good too because you have to push your limits, but you have to deal with it differently.
I know a lot of people were talking about like the King of Crankworx. With the 2 wins in the pocket, that's something that you kind of have to think about. I know it's there. Obviously, it's something that I would like to get, but you always have to focus on the next one.
It's a long season to become the king or queen. You have to make it out of so many brackets to make it into the rankings. Let's take a look at what our standings are right now in the round of 8.
That's it, Cam. Here we got the yellow guys. That means they are leading after the run 1. We're going to send them back up in a second. They're going to switch lanes and go again. Martin Soderstrom against Thomas Slavic. It's a great heat. It's such a tight one.
Well, everybody enjoying their time here at Skyline Rotorua, enjoying the sights from the comfort of the gondola. Probably no better seat in the house, but you're going to lose view as soon as you pass the course. But hopefully you time it right. If you're focusing your attention on the course right now, you've timed it right because we've got Martin Soderstrom and Thomas Slavic. The gate has dropped.
Thomas and O with a great start. Such a good start, so powerful in this first jump. Straight backflip from him, tail up by Martin Soderstrom, perfect to the pedals.
Martin going for the single tail up this time, feeling confident in his speed against Thomas Slavic.
That's it, but you saw Slavic there, not just pumping the rollers, pedaling all the way up over them.
Look at both riders pedaling into these gates.
Martin Soderstrom sliding it back a little bit there.
There we go. Almost on a rotation for Thomas Slavic. He crosses the line first, but not by a lot, 0.26.
Yeah, that was a great race. Honestly, Martin Soderstrom really impressing us there. But watch this as Slavic. He goes around this turn and pedals all the way up over through these rollers, really laying the power down there, Cam, hopping that next one and carrying such good speed.
Well, he feels liberated after having his chain removed last night in the pump track race. He's able to sprint over those rollers right now. Let's take a look back at those jumps. We have the scores. It's going to be for Thomas Slavic in that backflip, of course, a 40, a 50 for Martin Soderstrom for his tail up. Now doing the single version this time. He had a double tail up earlier.
Maybe the wind playing in though, you know, just doing the single. Here the last jump, another flip by Slavic, but a nice 3-table, classic Martin Soderstrom style.
That 3 tables, the bread and butter for Soderstrom, scoring him a 72.
And
now
he's going to advance.
Advances into the round of 4, knocking Slavic out. Those valuable king points slipping away from Thomas Slavic.
That's it. That's a big upset for Slavic in this King of Crankworx title that he's trying to chase and trying to collect points from all these events. Martin Soderstrom's got to be happy with that. The Mons Royale, dual speed and style, obviously suiting his style.
Well, Martin Soderstrom with a silver medal in Innsbruck, a bronze in Leger, looking to take home more hardware here in 2018, kicking it off in Rotorua. But now we're back up to the start. The winner from this bracket will face Martin Soderstrom. It's Ryan Howard in the lead right now against Adrian Lerone, our reigning king.
And they're off out the gate. Ryan looking strong. Lerone just edging ahead with a nice 3-table. Ryan Howard with that backflip no-hander again.
Well, he's consistent with even the tricks that are pushing his limits. Ryan Howard getting that backflip no-hander yet again.
Adrian Lerone with a slight lead into this log here. Ryan's really got to pump hard through these flat turns and try and pull it back and do something on this last jump.
Now Ryan Howard has the advantage right now going into this next lap. A backflip no-hander from Lerone, barely climbing back onto that bike. That's definitely going to help his cause right now against Ryan Howard.
That's it. Lerone is so strong through these rollers, though. You're about to see how smooth he is and how well he pumps them. Just see that with his arms. He's pushing down so hard and so well. And again, into the turns here. Pumps his legs through, pedals out, and carries great speed.
Well, look at the roost coming off the back tire of Ryan R-Dog Howard. Maybe doesn't equate to a ton of speed, but a whole lot of style. Can we start judging the roost, please, gentlemen?
Here we go, back up to the start. 3 table roll on, and that flip no-hand by Ryan Howard. Both landing very well. Both scoring a 70 on that, dead even.
Well, look at Lerone. He's thinking about those points. He's thinking about the points that he didn't get last night in pump track.
Flip no-hander for him.
Wants so badly to get these points, and he advances. That's going to help his cause, holding on to that throne. Lerone into the round of 4. He'll be facing off against Martin Soderstrom. Well, that's got to feel great. This is a way better moment than when we saw Adrian Lerone experiencing last night. Michaela, let's hear what Lerone has to say.
Thanks, Cam. All right, you were behind on the first round, and you just hammered on those pedals to get the advantage in this round. Can you tell me a little bit about what was going through your head when you were at the top of the run?
It was kind of a final for me now if I wanted to advance, so I gave it all and it worked. So pretty happy.
Yeah, it worked. What would you say? What did you say earlier? If you're not winning, you're losing?
Yeah, I think yeah, it's pretty easy to understand, but it's true.
I'd say you're winning to the next round at least.
Yeah, hope so.
Thanks so much. Back to you, Cam.
Thanks, Michaela. Well, Ricky Bobby said it best. If you're not first, you're last. That's just another variation of that way of looking at competition. If you're not winning, you're losing. And right now, Lerone is doing what it takes. So hold on to that crown. You don't have to win events, but you have to at least make it out of these brackets into the rounds where you earn those points.
That's it, Cam. He's really refocused after his problems last night, and it's impressive to see him do that.
Lerone will be facing off against Martin Soderstrom in the round of 4. And we're going to find out who else will make it into the round of 4 here. We got Joe Simpson on the right side of your screen, behind by 0.17 from Sam Reynolds, which is a very, very small margin.
Both with good starts in this one, dead even off that first log into the rollers. That decade again from Joe Simpson, we've seen it perfect all night.
4 in a row.
Sam Reynolds, though, pumping through these rollers, holding it nice, but Joe is not giving up. Coming out that turn just ahead of Sam into the log.
Joe Simpson definitely carving the right line through that very steep left-hand berm.
That's it, locals going wild for him. Into the last jump, 3 table by him, and Sam Reynolds with the flip no-hander.
Well, Joe Simpson crossing the finish line first.
By absolutely nothing. The racing is so tight out here with these two.
Well, let's take a look back at the rollers. It was all about rollers last night in the pump track, but who had the advantage here?
You see Sam Reynolds did come out of the turn a little bit early, so he tried really hard to make that back up, pumping through there.
Well, I didn't see exactly what the differential was on them. It was so close. It said that Joe Simpson had the advantage. It didn't say by how much, but it's going to all come down to the tricks right now because the racing was so tight.
There we go, that perfect decade by Joe Simpson again. Can't go wrong with that. Sam Reynolds with the 3 bar spin, a good combo.
So 15 points more if you're doing a decade versus a 360 bar spin. Now that 360 table for Joe Simpson, Sam Reynolds getting his hands off despite the wind for a score of 70 against Joe Simpson's 68 for that 360 table.
And almost a dead heat. Oh! But there you go!
0.01 separates Joe Simpson and Sam Reynolds for the upset. Joe Simpson from New Zealand moving into the round of 4.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely nothing in it, Cam. I think that is the tightest race we might see tonight, unless it's a draw.
Well, Joe Simpson sitting in that bracket now for the round of 4. Who will he race? Will it be Kyle Straight or Jakob Wenzel? Things are really heating up, Bernard.
Really heating up, and we're going to go back up to the top to see who he's going to have in his next round.
Well, there's a look at our 2017 world champion in the discipline of dual speed and style. It looks like he didn't rest on his laurels this offseason. He's been practicing hard, maintaining that speed, coming back with the tricks and even ramping those up a little bit, doing that backflip triple X up. He's going to need it all because Kyle Straight is also digging deep tonight.
And they're off, Cam. straight off the thing. Very evenly matched, these two, into this first jump.
Oh, wow, only 0.09 separating these guys after run number one. The backflip bar spin again from Kyle Straight. He triples the jump yet again. The 360 double bar spin from Jakob Wenzel. Really tight racing.
That's it, but Kyle really pumped hard through those rollers and pulled out your hip. But you see them both getting pushed off that log into the flat turns here. Kyle with the advantage into the last jump. Nice, perfect tail whip by Kyle again. And Jakob Wenzel with his signature backflip to X up, X up, X up. But with a 0.87 deficit coming across the line.
Jakob knew he needed all three of those X-ups in that backflip right there because Kyle was pulling out all the stops, not only in the tricks, but in the speed. Take a look at his scrub. Pressing the nose off of this, a foot comes off. That was reminiscent of like James Stewart Bubba scrubbing, but it's off a flat log, just showing how badly Kyle Straight is eager to cross that finish line first.
That's it, he's really hammering the pedals down here, but Jakob Wenzel is throwing a lot of combos into his tricks tonight.
Well, this one, I gotta say, this one's a little bit too close to call. We're gonna have to wait for these scores to know. It would be foolish to make any predictions at this point because both riders so on it right now.
Here we go. Back
360
up to the first
double
jump.
bar spin from Jakob.
And a flip bar spin again by Kyle Straight, getting out his comfort zone. And there it is, his perfect tail whip, doing it in the wind. Jakob Wenzel with the back flip to X up, X up.
So a 90 up top for Jakob, an 80 down below, a 70 up top for Kyle, and a 50 down below. So Jakob scoring higher on both of the jumps. When we combine it with the score, Kyle Straight still advances by 0.09 over Jakob Wenzel. Our 2017 dual speed and style world champion is going to have to take a seat as Kyle Straight moves into the round of 4 against Joe Simpson.
That's it, Cam. It's speed and style, and Kyle had the speed. And here you see Kyle Straight against Joe Simpson from New Zealand, Martin Soderstrom against defending King of Crankworx, Adrian Aron, going into the semi-finals.
Well, we've got a lot of riders right there who are familiar to that podium. They have some hardware at home in their trophy closets. Will they get more, or will it be an upset from Joe Simpson? Anything can happen. It's the Mons Royale dual speed and style. Don't go away.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
I think the Crankworx event here in Rotorua, its sort of vibe, its energy, the culture that gets poured into it, it's pretty unique, I guess.
Nelson's a really cool place. It's on the ocean, so you have surfing right there and then riding and mountains, and definitely one of those places you want to travel around.
So many new places, it's pretty unreal.
You gotta come to New Zealand to try it. It's wicked, super fun.
SRAM, the power of bicycles. We're back to action here in the beautiful town of Rotorua, New Zealand. The action's heating up in the Mons Royale dual speed and style. We're into the round of 4. We call that our semifinals right now. One step closer to the hardware and the valuable points in the dual speed and style world championship overall, as well as the king and queen hunt out here. You're looking at the king, Adrian Lerone, wanting to maintain that status, but it's never an easy path. You want to get those points, you got to go past guys like Martin Soderstrom.
Waiting on the wind, but it seems to have died down. They're racking up and ready to go. And they're off. Both with good starts again. Laurent doubling down. Nice three, double tail it by Martin Soderstrom there.
He opted out of the double whip the last run, knowing that he needs it right now if he wants to upset the king, Adrien Laurent. Martin Soderstrom looking strong, but Laurent right now currently having the advantage in speed in this run. Backflip no-hander for Laurent, 360 table for Soderstrom as he gets on the pedals. Laurent through the finish line first by 0.67 over Martin Soderstrom.
Great race though, with Martin with the really good tricks as well in there.
Well, that double tail may be something that will save him right now. Let's take a look at the body position in the rollers. Such a tall rider, Martin Soderstrom on the left side of your screen.
Yeah, you see it's super unique. People have different styles anyway. Martin's so tall, like you say, super different and different off there. I'd say that Ron, with the racing background, really squashes off there well.
Martin generates so much speed in those rollers using the length of his legs to really push that back tire in and squeeze every ounce of speed out of those backsides.
That's it, really good, unique pumping style as well. Tool guy, using it to his advantage.
So here we go, look at that, left side of your screen, a double tail for Martin Soderstrom, good enough for a 90. Adrien Laurent's 360 with a little tabletop sprinkled in on top, good enough for a 70, but almost bobbling the bars there for Adrien Laurent on that backflip tuck no-hander. Take a look at his left hand.
And then Martin Soderstrom also almost slipping a pedal there on that free table, getting a 75 against Laurent's 70.
Well, there we go. Laurent, the leader right now, over Soderstrom by 0.32. We'll send them back to the top of the course to switch lanes. Well, Michaela's hanging out at the bottom of the course where all the energy is happening. Michaela, what's the vibe down there?
Well, we got some pretty good energy. What I find really interesting tonight is that Adrien Laurent is the only racer really going into the finals here, or fighting for the final spot. The slopestyle guys, Martin Soderstrom, Kyle Straight, they're all throwing down massive tricks, but Adrien has definitely been putting in the work. You see that tonight, throwing in some new tricks that he maybe hasn't been doing so much in the past, and I think he's well on track tonight for a top spot.
Thanks, Michaela. It's true, looking at that, but you're looking at a guy like Joe Simpson. His background looks to be BMX dirt jumping. He's got that decade, but so much speed. That's how he found himself in the round of 4. Well, if you're hanging out alongside the course, you're definitely in the right spot right now. If you're watching the webcast, you're doing a great job as well. But the action doesn't stop once our webcast finishes. You gotta get all the action at your fingertips right now on the Crankworx World Tour Facebook page. We've got schedules for you, results, and a little bit of inside tidbits, some features about riders like that one right there, Tomas Lemoyne, Nikolai Rogatkin. The action doesn't stop when the racing ends. Get on the Crankworx World Tour and don't miss a thing. Well, here's our bracket now as we're sending our riders back up to the top of the course. Adrien Laurent has the advantage over Martin Soderstrom, and then we'll see Kyle Straight facing off against Joe Simpson.
Yeah, Cam, those two haven't faced each other yet, so it could be interesting. Will they go with what they've been doing all night? I think we will see Joe Simpson doing his decade. He's so solid out, he's been killing it all night. But these two, it's the first time racing together.
Well, it's great to see Joe Simpson making his way into the round of 4. It's so tough. You have the best riders in the world out here, a lot of really well-known riders. Joe Simpson was out here last year doing that decade, but he's cleaned it up even more now in 2018, and obviously got a bit more style under his belt this year too.
Waiting up at the top, seeing what the wind's doing. You can see Kyle looking out, trying to judge by the flags and make a call.
Well, if I were Joe Simpson right now, I would be saying, all right, I'm gonna default to whatever Kyle says, because this guy has won Rampage 2 times, and Rampage is an event where wind plays such a huge part. So
That's
Kyle,
it.
smart enough to make sure he waits for the right moment, isn't he?
Yeah, no one wants to get hurt. You want to do a good race. You want to be safe and want to have fun. If there's wind, we can wait.
In the interest of great competition and safety for the riders, I'll stick around all day waiting for the perfect conditions.
That's it, Cam. We're all here to see a good show, and we don't want to compromise that due to rushing because of a little bit of wind.
Now Kyle Straight going up against Joe Simpson in this round of 4 run. It'll be the first time they face off against each other. Kyle Straight, a guy who's won a slalom race called the Sea Otter Classic Dual Slalom. You may have heard of it. It's one of the most prestigious dual slalom races in the sport. You don't have to do any tricks for that one, but all the skills that he gained from his dual slalom years definitely paying off in those flat corners. Joe Simpson coming from that BMX background, but no slouch in those flat corners either.
Here we go, both out the gate. Pretty even going in there into this first jump.
Kyle gets the backflip bar spin. Joe once again straight to the pedals on that decade, sprinting as soon as he lands.
That's it, Kyle with his triple again into that first turn, really holding some serious speed here. Oh, mistake by Kyle Straight, coming out of the turn into the log and can't hit the gap off. Joe from New Zealand, he is clear through the flat turns and into the last feature. A nice three-table.
Crowd going nuts. Now Kyle needs to cross the finish line fast. Got to get back on his bike right now because the clock is still ticking. Luckily for Kyle, this will be another chance for him to get back up and try to upset that differential, but it's going to be a big one. Let's take a look back at the replay to see what happened. It was right before the cannon. He got off course.
You see it coming, it comes in so fast through that section, hits the turn and comes out a little high. And on the exit there, you see those 2 rocks, and he came out too close. He had to stop pedaling, had to hit his brake and try and adjust to miss it. But you see his body lean over right there. I think he might even clipped it, loses his feet, and he can't make the next gap.
And something crazy about dual speed and style is that the maximum differential is very, very high. So you have to get on your bike and rip down the course. It's not a 1.5 maximum differential, which would give a rider who had a mistake a great chance of still being able to move out of that round. We're going to wait right now to see as they tabulate those scores what kind of differential Kyle Straight's going to have to make up. It started out great for both riders.
That's it, we see there Kyle with that backflip bar spin he's been doing. Joe Simpson with his perfect decade all night long now.
So a 90 for Joe Simpson, a 70 for Kyle Straight's backflip bar spin. But look at that, the lone soldier crossing the finish line by himself, Joe Simpson.
Here we go. Kyle Straight with a 9.5 second deficit to Joe Simpson, now the leader, heading back up into round 2. Kyle is really going to have to pull some magic out to make that happen.
That maximum differential is way too high, if you ask me. 9 seconds. You're going to have to hope that Joe Simpson crashes right there, but he's going for that decade. But Joe Simpson, New Zealand, you got to love him. Can he make it into the bronze medal match, potentially into the gold medal match? He's going to have to keep up on this same path. But there's a look at our reigning king, Adrien Lerone. He had this to say about what it takes for success out here.
I've been working a lot on my tricks to get some combos for the speed and style. I've never been tricksing too much. I'm coming from BMX race, but the other guys are combining tricks and speed, so I had to train a lot on it. Foam pit sessions, airbag, and I want to learn new things, so I'm not looking too much what the other guys are doing and just trying to learn from my friends, the freestylers guys like Thomas Lemoine and Yannick Granieri, who are pretty good slopestylers, and yeah, doing my thing.
Well, it's working. It doesn't hurt when you have friends like Lemoine and Yannick Granieri to help you on your way to learning these tricks. And Lerone, no easy task here, making it into the round of 4, and the difficulty continues as he's facing off against Martin Soderstrom.
Yeah, here we go. Martin Soderstrom on the right, Adrien Lerone on the left.
So Lerone is the leader coming into this round by a margin of 0.32 over Martin Soderstrom. Martin throwing the double tail whip last round. What's he got for us now this time?
Another double tail whip, perfect to the pedals there. Around the first turn, both holding good speed. Lerone with a slight advantage down this straight. But Martin is right there coming out of that turn into the log.
Making it through that section where Kyle Straight had his problem, and now he's inching ahead of Adrien Lerone. Oh, the backflip no-hander from Lerone, the 360 tabletop for Martin Soderstrom. Soderstrom crossing the finish line first, 0.13 ahead of your reigning king, Adrien Lerone.
Such a tight race there, Cam. Martin Soderstrom really laying down the speed, though.
He was ahead for the second half of that run, he used that left-hand berm, that really tight G-force berm, and that's exactly when he pulled out ahead. Take a look.
You see, he's using those big legs like we talked about. He's pumping so hard. Going into this turn there, he really pushes his legs into that tight turn, cranks out, and he just accelerates ahead of Adrien Laurent.
That's a make or break section right there. He was trailing Adrien Laurent until he extended his legs, like you said, and just shot out like a cannon out of that left-hand berm. Well, here come our scores for the jumps. Laurent on the left side of the screen, of course, he's getting that 360 table. He's been consistent with that all day. That's his standby. And then Martin Soderstrom, knowing he needs the double tail up. The single is not enough.
That's it. So 70 and a 90 on the first jump. And then down at the bottom, Adrien Laurent 69 with that flip no hand. Martin Soderstrom with a solid 70 for his 360 table.
Laurent getting those hands off definitely helps him with that 69, but not by enough. Martin Soderstrom will advance.
0.10. So close again, Cam.
Well, Martin collecting a lot of hardware last year in the dual speed and style events. Looking on pace to do it again. Michaela is standing by with Martin.
All right, thanks, Cam. One of my favorite guys to interview, Martin Soderstrom, slope style. Look at those long legs. You were manualing through those rollers, getting a really good speed. How's it going?
They're tired, very tired. This is, I've said it before, speed and style is so much harder than you think. Like sprinting into every trick is just...
You're pretty sweaty.
Thanks.
You need some Mons Royale.
Yeah, no, everything feels good. I mean, this is how tight Crankworx is. Like a couple of years ago, you could go in and just kind of make your way fairly easy to semifinals and finals. And now, what was that? Like 0.10 with Laurent?
Yeah.
That's like me not having any beard, and he didn't shave this morning. So that's why I won.
Well, I mean, you're doing really well. Anything else going into the next round?
Hopefully, more. Yeah, more of everything. Faster, more tricks. Yeah.
A little bit of everything. More, faster. Go on. Get out of here.
Thanks, Michaela. Martin's got it figured out on the bike, but also that was one of my favorite answers ever. You're sweaty. He says thanks.
That's it. He's not worried. He's working hard out there. He's going to be sweaty, Cam. He's really pushing the limits of himself right now, going so fast and doing the tricks, beating Laurent by 0.10. Like he said, absolutely nothing. The difference between having some hair on your face.
Well, Martin may be a guy we're talking about for the King title overall if he keeps racking up these points. Martin Soderstrom now advancing over Adrien Laurent. Take a look at the rest of our brackets.
That's it. Martin's going to go into the A final there, the top bracket you see. Adrien Laurent is going to go into the B final. He's going to face the loser of the next heat. So whoever beats Kyle Straight, Joe Simpson will go to the small final, the loser. And the winner will advance to the main final with Martin Soderstrom.
So what you call the small final right there, we can also call that the bronze medal round, the big final where we're giving away the gold and the silver. Martin finding his way into that gold medal potential round. Adrien Laurent still an opportunity to take some valuable points, but Martin looking poised for greatness here. Now we got to find out who they will be racing. That's the big question right now. We're looking at Joe Simpson, Kyle Straight, as they make their way to the starting gate. Now, Martin touching on how busy the day is when you're racing dual speed and style. You practice all day. You've done it. What's it like?
That's it, Cam. There's a lot going on. Like he says, you're sprinting down the track, into the jumps, doing tricks, and then you're straight back up there to switch lanes and do it all over again. These guys, we've just seen them come down to the start. They've only just got back to the top of the hill. They've got to get in the gate and go again. That's why it's sweaty. That's why it's tiring. And that's why these are the best riders in the world.
Well, there's an endurance element, like you say. Such a long day, but also coming into those jumps full speed, race focus, and then having to modulate, figure out the right speed for whatever trick you're doing. That's not easy.
No, not easy at all, but these guys are making it happen out there, landing back on the gas, racing and tricks. The Mons Royale dual speed and style, great event.
Well, New Zealand, let's hear it for your boy here, Joe Simpson. This could be potential for a huge upset right here if he's able to hold on and knock out Kyle Straight.
Over the first jump, 3 table wedge. Oh, Straight!
Straight goes down here. He had such a huge margin to try to beat. Joe Simpson being really smart as well, going for an easier trick, not doing that decade, because basically the only way that Kyle was going to get out of that round was if Joe Simpson made a mistake. But look at him. He's poised for greatness right here.
That's it, cruising the line, keeping the crowd happy, throwing a flip. You can hear it, the New Zealanders, their boy, he is through to the next round. Unfortunately for Kyle Straight, he'll be going to the small final. Still a chance for Harbour. Like we say, it's a bronze medal matchup, but not what he wanted. We know he wants to be in that gold medal round.
Look at Joe Simpson. Can you believe it? He'll be facing off against Martin Soderstrom for the gold medal. This crowd is going to be incredibly loud for that round. But Kyle Straight, your day is not over. Still an opportunity, like Bernard said, to get a bronze medal. Michaela is standing by with this guy. We need to learn some stuff about Joe Simpson out of New Zealand.
Thanks, Cam. Yeah, what's going on, man? Have you ever done this before?
I'm a BMXer by trade. I'm here, I work for Specialized. I've been setting up the tent and helping S Racing all week. We're up early to get the tent set up this morning. Just thought I'd jump on a jump bike about a week ago, well, since last year, and yeah, it's going pretty good.
Just swing a leg over an old dirt jump bike and have at her. I'd say you're doing very well. What is the hardest trick that you can do on a BMX?
I'd probably say like the decade again, but it's just a bit weird, kind of transitioning to bigger wheels, but no, we're going all right.
Well, you seem to be nailing it every single run, and it is proving to be the advantage here tonight. So unfortunate for you know, that guy, but
yeah,
awesome for you.
Yeah, you want to win this or advance properly. You want the other person to get to the bottom of the hill always and make it fair. But I guess it's racing, I suppose. Like it happened to me last year, so. Yeah, see what happens.
You're riding super solid. You deserve it. Best of luck.
Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, well, you gotta love that story. He finishes setting up the tent. He's here working, and the way he says it, oh, I might as well just grab a jump bike and give it a whirl.
That's it. He's the working class hero here tonight, I think, Cam. Like you say, setting up the tent, grabbing a bike, and doing it for New Zealand. He's the local boy. He's got his fans out here. He's killing it, and he's having a great time by the smile on his face.
Well, we keep talking about how many valuable points are up for grabs here. All of our riders who are still in the game are going to be collecting some of those points, and here's the breakdown.
Here it is, Cam. First place gets you 150 points for the King of Crankworx World Tour.
For the Dual Slalom World Championship, if you want to become a Dual Speed and Style World Championship, if you want to be the world champion, how many opportunities in your life do you get a chance to say, I'm the world champion in a competitive discipline? These are the points breakdowns, 150 valuable points for the rider who's taking away the gold here. So not only souvenirs and paychecks, but overall standings and bragging rights. And there's also money up for grabs for those overall world championship standings too.
That's it, Cam, and that's why the small final is such a big thing still. You want to fight for that third place. You don't want to just roll down and get fourth just because you're not in the main final. So we're going to see some great racing in there too.
Well, this is a case of deja vu, isn't it? We're looking at something right now. It's a bronze medal match between Adrian Lerone and Kyle Straight. Now, these two guys have been in the gate together before, and it wasn't all that long ago. It was actually about 24 hours ago in the pump track. Here they were.
Yeah, like you said, Cam, they were racing against each other last night in the pump track. They know each other, and they race against each other a lot. And here it is, Adrian Lerone on your right side of your screen made that mistake, and Kyle went through and defeated him.
So that's the moment that Adrian Lerone has been beating himself up over for the last 24 hours. He really got back on track, got his head focused. He's been riding great out here today. You don't just get into the bronze medal matchup by accident. He's earned his way here, but a little bit of a chance for redemption right now against the competitor, Kyle Straight, where he had that mistake last night.
That's it, Cam. He's really, really focused today. Got his head back in the game. A fourth place or third place medal matchup is nowhere to be bad about. It's hard out here. It's the best riders in the world. Going up against these guys is super hard, and he has ridden so well all day. But another race, Kyle Straight, it's a rematch from last night.
Yeah, you never know when you're going to get your chance for redemption. It's kind of nice when it comes the very next day.
That's it. Here they go. Back up at the start. They've just walked up. They need to freshen up, and they'll be in the gate any second.
Well, Kyle Straight, if you remember, he had that crash on the first jump in his run number one. So luckily he didn't have too far to go to get back to the start, but he had a lot of dirt to brush off himself, get the head back straight, make sure the bike is working. So might as well take this opportunity to go back and look at that crash. You see him on the left side of your screen right there, going for that backflip bar spin. He was so consistent with it all night.
Yeah, hard to say what went wrong. His back wheel comes around a little bit. Could have been wind, could have just been a small mistake. It's hard to say.
He could have lost pinch with the knees and had a hard time getting the hand back on that bar. With a technical trick like that, so many things can go wrong. So that's what makes it so hard in dual speed and style, to do it time after time after time.
That's it, and you're racing into it, Cam. He's going into that jump as fast as he can, and then he's trying to throw that trick.
And it comes down to probabilities. How many times can you do a trick that's hard for you in a row without messing it up?
That's it. Here we go, goggles on.
Riders ready. Watch the gate.
And the riders are off at the start. Very even over the rollers and in this first hit.
Oh, there we go. Well, a chance for redemption for Adrian Lerone from last night, but Kyle Straight getting instant redemption on that backflip bar spin that he crashed on just moments ago.
Yeah, and out of that turn, so strong again.
Making
Pushes
it through
in.
that rock this time,
Exactly.
too.
Really getting some power down, and just ahead of Adrian Lerone getting the last jump here.
Oh, it's
Nice
windy. Kyle
tail
Straight
whip.
throws the tail up, somehow climbing back onto those pedals. That was incredible. You can feel the wind gusting down here. You can watch those flags dancing about. I was not sure if Kyle was going to try to tail up on that last jump.
That's it, but look here, Kyle does this triple again into the first turn,
Oh.
and you can see coming out of this how powerful both of these guys are. Really pushing in, really pumping, and getting every bit of speed they can, hopping into that turn there.
Now, tripling that section into that right-hand berm, you're going to be coming in with way more speed.
That's it, and you see coming out that turn there, both of them hammering the pedals, so powerful, squashing the jump into these flat turns, carrying so much speed into this last jump to try and trick.
Well, Adrian Lerone so consistent on his tricks as well. Let's take a look at those tricks. That backflip bar spin just climbing back on both of these jumps for Kyle Straight. That 360 table good enough for a 65 for Adrian Lerone. But check it out at the bottom. Lerone gets his hands off, and Kyle Straight somehow finds his way back onto that bicycle in the wind.
You see that, his front wheel gets blown over a little bit there with the wind, like you say, and he gets a nice 47, but Lerone with the 68, a slightly higher score.
Kyle's leg actually got hung up in that front tire. Wow, look at this, a tie between these two guys once the numbers were crunched. No way. Yeah, a couple different reactions right here. They are facing the same situation, get back up to the top and start from scratch.
Yeah, it's a dead heat going into the next race. It could just be run one. They're going to switch sides, but it's a dead heat. One of them was happy about it, one not so. So we'll see how they deal with that as they get back in the start gate. And right, this is how these guys got here through the night. Every yellow name is how they've advanced from the round of 16, round of 8, semi-finals, and now in the finals. You've got the main final and the small final.
Oh, huge chance for an underdog story. Joe Simpson setting up the tent in the morning, then grabbing a bike, deciding he's going to just give this a whirl, as he said. But now he's found himself in gold medal contention against a guy who took home so much hardware last year, Martin Soderstrom.
Yeah, Martin is no stranger to being in this position. He has been here plenty of times before, and he loves the speed and style event. Joe Simpson from New Zealand, like we say, setting up tents this morning, and now he's here on the gate in the gold medal matchup. It looks like Cam now, though, they're waiting for some wind. They both took their feet off the pedals. I can feel it gusting down here, and I'm sure they can feel the same up there.
And it's smart right there. Like Martin was saying, it's a long day. You're tired, so you need a breath, but you also want to drop in the best conditions possible right now. And the wind is not a consistent blow. It is gusting, so it pays off to wait just a couple minutes if it takes that.
That's it. They're happy to go now, and they're off.
All right, we got Joe Simpson on the right side of your screen, Martin Soderstrom on the left. A double tail for Martin Soderstrom. That perfect decade again from Joe Simpson.
Martin with a little edge going these rollers here, but Joe definitely not giving up, powering away, and coming even with Martin out of that inside turn and off the log. Here they come, the crowd going wild for local boy Joe Simpson through the flat turns, into the last jump.
Rotorua, bring him home!
Oh!
Contact is made on the last jump. Identical tricks, 360 tables, Joe Simpson going down.
I'm not sure if that was wind related, Cam. He drifted over. It could be the 360, it could be a bit of wind, but like you say, identical trick, and his front wheel clipping the back of Martin's bike there.
Well, we talked about it earlier. These guys are riding side by side, not only on the race portion of this course, but over the jumps. In tricks like 360s, it's hard to stay dead straight in the middle of the landing. So sometimes there's some transferring going on, but look at the sportsmanship right there. Martin Soderstrom sitting down, giving Joe Simpson a chance to catch his breath. Let's take a look back at the race before the incident. There we go. Let's hear it for him, Rotorua. Joe Simpson giving it his all. Got Mike Hucker Clark down there checking on Joe. Well, it's great to see him up and about. I'm sure he probably knocked the wind out of himself a bit. Let's take a look back at this race. What went right, what went wrong. So the last jump, here's where it went wrong.
As he pulls around for that 360, he just sees Martin right in front of him there. Nothing he can do. His front wheel just clips the back of Martin's bike.
Oh man, they were so exuberant when it was going well, and then so surprised when that contact was made. Get a look at the replay from Hucker. Well, hopefully Joe Simpson is feeling all right there. That's going to be a massive differential between Martin and Joe since he didn't cross the finish line. Well, we've got one run to go here before we start handing out some medals. We've got a gold, a silver, and a bronze yet to be determined in the Mons Royale dual speed and style. Valuable points up for grabs for the dual speed and style world championship series. Of course, valuable points for that overall king title. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The finals and the bronze medal matchup coming up right after this.
We're trying to make a drivetrain that works better. We're trying to improve upon the things that we had done.
Introducing the all-new SRAM GX Eagle drivetrain. No matter what kind of rider you are or the kind of terrain you might ride, Eagle is simply the best. GX Eagle drivetrains have a range of gears that rival or flat out beat most 2x systems. Engineered in Germany, made for the world. This is GX Eagle.
Skyline Rotorua. Once is never enough. Well, it's time, everyone. It's time we hand out a bronze medal. Take a look at our brackets right now. We've only got 2 races left. We're going to be looking at Adrian Larone and Kyle Strait shortly. getting that bronze medal. And the reason why one of those isn't highlighted in yellow is because, if you remember, they tied after run number 1. That's unheard of.
That's it, Cam. They are dead even going into this last race. Whoever wins this one with the tricks and the speed, they are getting your bronze medal here tonight and valuable points for the Pump Track World Championship Series.
This is a straight-up duel, no differential in the hands of either of these competitors. Kyle Straight on the left side of your screen, Adrian Lerone on the right. Both the leader essentially due to that tie.
And here we go, Cam. And they're off. Both sprinting down the wood into the rollers, dead even into this first jump.
Oh, Kyle gets a backflip bar spin, the 360 table for Adrian Lerone. They're both looking so on point.
That's it, Kyle slightly ahead going down the straight, but don't forget Adrian's gonna have the inside line here in this tight turn. Both powering into the log. Off it, almost identical into the flat turns here. Both of them hammering down to this final feature.
Oh, the double tail for Kyle Straight. He's on the bike across the finish line. No way. Adrian Lerone across the finish line. 0.26 ahead of Kyle. But Kyle digging so deep with that double tail whip. Now, did Lerone get those hands off on that backflip?
I'm pretty sure Lerone did do a combo on that last jump, but the double tail whip by Kyle was incredible. He did slip a pedal, but a double tail whip, it's winning out here. Such an impressive trick. Digging deep in his bag and really coming through.
Well, how about the sheer speed of these two riders after such a long day of practice and brackets? Look at this, the G-forces out of that berm.
That's it, they've been going at this all day now, but you see Kyle there with the dirt just spraying up from his rear wheel and hammering the pedals into this. Kyle squashing off of that log before it even ended.
This is straight up what dual speed and style is all about right here. Saving it for the finals. Kyle Straight going for that double tail up. He knew that Adrian Lerone was doing that backflip, tuck no-hander on the last jump, and a tail up straight would not be enough. There's no differential after their first run. The winner of this run will be taking home a bronze medal.
Right, up to the first jump. This is what they're waiting for. Both a 70 on the first jump. Even scores there.
Oh, wow. A 360 table scoring the same as a backflip bar spin. Now down to the bottom, the hands off for Adrian Lerone, not by a lot, but the tail up, the double tail from Kyle Straight, not perfect to the pedals.
But a nice 80 against the 67, so it's down to here. And
Adrian
Lerone
gets the bronze medal and the valuable points going into that dual speed and style world championship. Michaela's standing by with Adrian Lerone, our bronze medalist.
Thanks, Cam. Reigning king of Crankworx, Adrian Lerone. Now, this is what we like to see. Bronze medal today, back on the podium. How are you feeling?
Pretty happy about that for sure.
That was an amazing comeback.
It was such a long day again, and Kyle is a really hard competitor, and it was a tight one again.
Well, you did it. Congratulations. And what can we expect to see from you in the future Crankworx events? What other events are you going to be competing in Europe?
I will train a lot for sure. I'll be stronger, and I'll have some more tricks.
You gonna look into keeping your crown?
Yeah, of course, I can't leave it like that. So I will push it really hard, and I will do my best to keep it with me.
Yeah, I think you should hold on to it tightly. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Michaela. That answers one of our big questions that we had at the beginning of the day. Was he going to be able to put yesterday behind him and get some points and possibly some hardware? He did just that.
Yeah, I think that showed really strong head game by Adrian Lerone today. You saw what happened last night. Huge disappointment to himself.
Well, let's keep the momentum rolling here. We have awarded a bronze medal to Adrian Lerone, but we still have a gold and a silver to divvy out.
Let's
look at the top of the course right now. They're in the gate. They're catching their breath, but let's take a look back at how they got here. Round one from Joe Simpson. Great to see him up in the gate right now after that huge crash. Well, things started out great here, Bernard.
That's it. He did that decade. He's been doing so well all night, and they were both even going down in the first turn.
Now, so even, in fact, that they were side by side through the gates and still side by side off this final jump.
That's it. So side by side, you see right here. They connected in the air. Joe Simpson, the local guy, went down. Such a shame, as they were neck and neck to the line.
Also doing an identical trick, too. They would have crossed the finish line right next to each other, but unfortunately, Joe Simpson going down. We talked about how that's a possibility. We saw that highlight from last year when Kyle Straight actually made contact with a competitor. a 10.26 that Joe Simpson needs to make up.
That's it, they're off. This is the gold medal round, the final race of the day.
Now you'd think that Martin's gonna take it easy here, and he does. He does a knack-knack.
Both of them, I think Joe there with a whip and knack and a seat grab maybe even. These guys are having a good time now this race.
With 10 seconds to make up, Martin would have to crash, so Joe's just gotta stay on his bike, not hope for Martin to crash, but just see what happens.
That's it. You can see here, Cam, they're having a good time, slowing it down. Joe even misses the gates. They're both just having a good time out there. Huge funny one-footer, putting it on for the local crowd. Smiles on the face, but unfortunately, he is not going to make up that time.
A huge congratulations to your gold medal winner out here, Martin Soderstrom, and Joe Simpson coming from the pits after setting up tents. He's working out here, decides to just give it a whirl in dual speed and style. He's taking home a silver medal.
Great race, great smiles. They're always having a good time out there, Cam, and they're amazing riders.
Well, Michaela says that Martin Soderstrom is her favorite person to interview. She commented that he is sweaty earlier, but now he's going to be decorated with a gold medal around his neck tonight. Michaela, this guy's all smiles, isn't he?
Oh man, how are you feeling right now? Gold medal winner here tonight in the Mons Royale dual speed and style. Tell me about it.
Sweaty, tired.
Still sweaty.
Still sweaty, maybe a bit smelly, who knows? But very happy, very, very, very happy. I don't think people realize, what I've been going through the last couple of years. I think I had 8 fractures in 4 years. So it's been a lot of time on couch watching Crankworx. To be out here and to do this well is just so good. And thanks everyone for the sharing, it was awesome.
Let's give it up, Rotorua. Martin Soderstrom, your gold medal winner.
Yes, Martin Soderstrom. It's been such a tough path to get back here to the top, but he won here in 2015. Now repeating, you shared a podium with him 3 years ago.
That's it, Cam. He's had some ups and downs over his career. Like you say, he won here in 2015, a few years ago now, but it's awesome to see him win out here again. Against the local guy, there's a smile on his face. He's got to be happy with that.
Well, gaining valuable points for the King of Crankworx overall title. We see his name right there on the first page, nonetheless.
Yeah, him and Adrian Leron, you see, has brought himself up on that first page. With his third place finish today, he's up in a 7th place, 180 points. 10 points ahead of Martin Soderstrom, our winner tonight, but both now in the top 10 and in that chase for the King of Crankworx overall crown.
Kyle Strait also in that first page right there. Great to see. A lot of valuable points from this dual speed and style. Now, next up tonight on site, we're gonna have the best whip competition. But for those of you tuning in on the webcast, you know what's happening tomorrow, don't you? It's the moment we've all been waiting for. Check it out.
And so it begins.
There's a special energy in the air here in Rotorua every time we show up.
The first stop of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship. Veteran riders pushing technicality to unimaginable new levels.
One last features, 4724, Smitty lands it!
Fresh blood looking to step onto the podium.
The background, nobody can tell it, straight to pedals!
Each taking their shot at the oh-so-elusive Triple Crown of Slopestyle. An iconic course with a 100% track record for radness. The Crankworx Rotorua Slopestyle in memory of Magazza.
Going for the twister, can he land it? Perfect!
The forecast call for air sickness, live on Red Bull TV.
Well, that's going to be a doozy tomorrow. The kickoff of the Crankworx FMBA Slopestyle World Championship on this course, designed in part by Kelly McGarry. That's going to be a great moment. Always the best way to kick off the slopestyle season. But this was a great way to kick off the dual speed and style season, wasn't it, Bernard?
That's it, Cam. There was some awesome racing out there tonight. Adrian Leron really got his head game back in it, you know, getting the bronze medal, defeating Kyle Strait. And then the final, we've got the local boy, Joe Simpson. He was an upset to quite a few people tonight, came all the way through to claim the 2nd place. Martin Soderstrom, though, he did it. He won here in 2015, like we said, comes back, claims his gold again, a smile on his face, says it all. He is a happy guy and more than stoked with the win again.
Well, what an event. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow for slopestyle. Thanks to Michaela Gatto in the field, Bernard Kerr alongside me in the booth. I'm your host, Cam McCall. We'll see you tomorrow.